That was horrible.
Isaac, I have a proposition for you. Every cold open I ever do starts that way. Isaac, I have a proposition for you.
It's always Isaac. Let me put you in a situation right now.
It's like a game show.
Yeah.
It's like I'm putting you in a situation and you have to just deal with the consequences.
That's gone very well every time you brought like Tim the Timothy Man onto the podcast.
Oh my God.
It's me trying to put you in a situation, Isaac.
Is Tim the Timothy Man like a deep cut now?
I think so. It's been many episodes since Tim the Timothy Man has made reared his ugly little head in
He
here.
was like a recurring character for a really long time, and then he just disappeared.
I imagine him being like one of those like creatures where it's like you only see the top half of him. Like maybe he's got like this long segmented centipede body.
I don't know why, but
behind the scenes of this talk show.
We've literally never talked about this. I 100% imagined that.
Yes.
Kind of like a Jabba the Hutt situation, but the top half of him is a normal man.
And he's in like a blazer, like a regular, like, hey, I'm a late night talk show host kind of guy. I have this game show, but then you see the trail of slime going back into the backstage. It keeps going.
It's pretty cool. And then you never ever see the end of his tail.
No, of course.
But on the other end of his tail is like
a pot of gold.
No,
that's
that guy.
where
Who's the guy who runs Jeopardy?
That's Jeffrey Samuels.
Jeopardy
Jeffrey, yeah.
So Jeffrey is on the other end. This is like Kent Brosnan,
Pierce Brosnan,
Pierce Nanners,
Gallahan.
No.
Nope, nothing.
He's a famous man. I can't remember his name.
I'm sure he's important. His name is Jeff Jeopardy, and he's my best friend. Me and Jeff Jeopardy, we go golfing on the weekends.
No, not Ken Jennings. He wasn't well, I mean, maybe he's the host now, but he wasn't.
I swear,
he's not who I'm talking
about. The host
about.
of Jeopardy, like the more famous one, died recently, didn't he? Isn't that what happened?
He did, because Mayim Balik is the new one.
The new host.
But I'm talking about Alex Trebek.
Trebek.
He is dead. He did die. I remember. Oh God! Wow, we're starting this off great. Wait,
We're
so
off to
you're
a good
telling
start.
you're telling Mayim
Bialik.
famous actress known for Big Bang Theory.
The Big Bang Theory
is now the host of Jeopardy. That's actually like super cool. Good for her.
Yeah, apparently she's like wicked smart, like for real,
she is
not just because of her character on the show.
Incredibly smart. Yeah,
smarter than me, smarter than you for sure. If she had a podcast,
okay, so
people
she's
would
smarter
listen
than me.
for sure. Oh yeah,
I mean she might.
She could.
So anyway,
probably.
My proposition for you that I gave you 2
on this
minutes
game
ago.
show.
No, I was just gonna ask, if I gave you $10,000,
that's a big chunk of change.
Go to a camp and probably get murdered. Would you do it?
Like,
but it's a problem. Probably.
What's the experience? So there's a probably get murdered.
Yeah. So like,
tell me
it's
about
like
this experience. What do I get? Do I just get killed, or is there like more of an experience to this experience?
Well, so that's the thing, right? It's a little up in the air. You know, these two old men. And these two old...
welcome to Shark Tank. You're on the air right now. Let's so give me your tight 5 and why you should give me $10,000 to maybe go get murdered.
So when my aunt's cousin was dying,
I'm out.
And I was when my cousin's
There's 2
uncle
more
was
sharks.
dying,
You're still here.
I was really struggling with depression because of all the people dying that were distantly related to me, and I came up with a great idea. Everybody likes death. Everybody does it.
Shark 2, I'm out. You got one.
Fuck, I got
one
2
shark
more.
left.
I got 2 more. Okay.
Are there 4?
Yeah, there's 4.
I don't know how this game works.
And I'm trying to do that whole like sentimentality thing.
That's right. Someone's sitting here like with a tissue, like wiping their eyes, like,
and it's got that like really sad music.
Yes, exactly.
So anyway, here's my bidet.
So let me get this straight.
No, I just thought it was funny.
So let me get this straight. So you're trying to sell me on a murder camp for $10,000, and you brought your bidet?
Yeah. So here's the thing.
Is that for you? Or is that for me?
No,
Is that a treat? Because I would love just scoot that on over the table to me, and maybe we'll be in business here.
All right. Well, you can try it out. Go. Here's a porta potty I brought with us into the studio. You can go try out this bad boy right now.
I say
it's
I'm going to try out this bidet.
It's a porta potty bidet.
Now, what we're pitching here is a portable bidet. I know I'm here for something else, but while I have you here, might as well pitch this bidet.
Anyway, and you may be asking yourself, Sharks, what does this have to do with my cousin's dying? Well,
this is exactly what I'm asking myself. Thank you very much. I'm going to spray a little bit of ooh. It shocks me.
It's all clean now.
I'm never expecting it.
It's always a little fear. And that's where we're coming back to is fear. Because in the cave, it all comes back.
Hey, I'm that third shark. I'm back in, actually. You brought me back around.
So when I was scared of yet another cousin or yet another distant relative dying, it was at a camp. And at this camp, I was scared I was going to get murdered the whole time
Of course,
because
as we all are at camps as children, there's always the fear of murder.
yeah, the serial killer BTK was actually on site the entire time. I think he's dead now, but he was there. And
What?
I don't know why him. Why him? He's not even that famous.
But he's here.
But anyway.
He's here because he's a part of this very real story you're telling, right?
Oh, right. Shit.
This is real, right?
Wait,
of course.
Yes, sharks. I swear.
I'm about to push the button. And
The golden buzzer?
no. That's right next to us. This is the brown buzzer. And if I push this one, there's a trap door that falls in the hole into some poop.
Man, this is going nowhere. Anyway, my thought was, what if I'm scared at a camp, I have to go to the bathroom, but there's no toilet paper.
Okay.
So I need a bidet.
You just need an instant bidet.
So I thought, why not have a
is
camp?
this still about a $10,000 murder camp?
Yes, we're getting there, sharks. Don't lose me. Don't lose me. So you're at this camp where you paid $10,000 to probably get murdered. So the
maybe
whole
get
time
murdered.
you're terrified. BTK's there. Other ones are there.
There are multiple murderers. Hold on.
There's so many.
Murders aplenty.
Yeah,
At least two.
Eminem's there for some reason.
What is the red M&M from the commercials? Not the rapper, the M&M.
Yeah, the red M&M. He's a serial killer. Like that
I'd
one time
buy
they
that.
tried to put him in cereal, but it ruined all of the cereal.
One day M&Ms will go into. You think one day M&Ms will fall into the public domain, and then we will see a horror M&M movie?
Oh God, I need that.
I feel like that's all like the pipeline. You can go online and see like what IPs are like up for like going to be in the public domain next. I feel like that is like it's like Marvel Cinematic Universe. You know how they have like they're like, oh, here's our upcoming films. You know, this timeline of all these movies. I feel like if you do that in the timeline of like what's coming up in the public domain, like I think coming up here pretty soon, like Betty Boop is going to be in the public domain.
Oh, dude.
And I feel like instantly now, instead of like making MCU cinematic movies, we're just gonna have like the public domain horror movie timeline because that's definitely gonna start happening. Popeye's also gonna hop up in
already
there.
has happened.
Really though, because we have Steamboat Willie, who's not
Steamboat Willie.
technically not Mickey Mouse, but Steamboat Willie specifically is up in there. And then you had the whole debacle with Winnie the Pooh and his bloods and his honeys and all that kind of stuff.
Don't forget about his honeys or his bloods. So the reason I bring this up is because I'm actually
we're back in the room.
So
with the
sharks, I'm actually the co-host of a podcast. That podcast is called That Was Horrible.
Now, do you have a co-host on this podcast?
I do. You are actually him.
Oh, it's me.
Brr, brr, brr,
I know
brr,
him.
brr, brr.
I know that
Will
guy.
you
He
take
is me.
20 shares of 40,000 minutes
You know
of
what?
your life?
You know what, Derek? You're sold because I am also the host of a podcast. I am named Isaac. And what was the name of this podcast?
That was
horrible. It's a podcast where we do our best
at reviewing the worst in the horror.
In the horror
industry
sharks, and we're selling
that
portable
someone
bidets.
that someone calls
You
horror.
guys want one, please?
My name's Derek, by the way.
He's Derek, and I'm Isaac, and we
You
made
said your
so many. We made so many portable bidets, and I don't know what to do with them. Please take them from me, sharks. I'm so scared, and I'm so wet.
So ew. So did you get everybody out there? Did you get what we were doing there? Because I barely did, and
There's
I was
a camp.
leading the
You
bit.
guys want to go to camp? Come on down to camp.
So this week we watched Camp Pleasant Lake.
Camp Pleasant Lake, released in the year of our Lord 2024.
2024.
We got a
Actually,
recent, a hot take for you.
From today, it was released 4 months ago.
That's insane.
Pretty crazy.
Pretty fresh in this one. We've had a lot of like movies like this year in our podcast times. We've had a lot of like this year releases,
Which has been fun. I really enjoyed
great.
it.
This year's had a lot of horror come out and a lot of stinkers apparently.
But a lot of good stuff too.
There's a lot of good stuff coming up, guys.
There's a lot of good
we got a
stuff,
summer of
too.
horror coming up. We got Nosferatu well, that's not in summer, but we've had the
But that's the only
trailer,
one you're excited
trailer for Nosferatu releasing like Christmas. We have Maxine coming up here pretty soon.
Longlegs.
Longlegs is
Cuckoo.
coming out. We had
Devil's Bath came out today.
Quiet Place
Day of the Nuns.
Day of the Nuns, that's coming out too. We've got Stuart Camp Stuart Little, where he's a little murderer.
He's a little guy.
He's just a little guy.
Okay, so imagine that though. Like the worst thing that you could deal with is something you can't see, right? But what if it's something that's so small that all you get are like little splinter cuts?
I think they almost had
horrible.
it. They almost had it right when they were doing Leprechaun, right? They're like, you see this big monster, you can trap that, you can hide in a space that it can't get into. Leprechaun, smaller, can get into more enclosed spaces. Let's get even. Let's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, a serial killer.
Let's call it Honey, I Slashed the Kids.
Honey, I Slashed the Kids.
Pretty good.
That's it. That's
pretty good.
genius.
That's pretty good. I would watch that movie
Absolutely, but like get Rick Moranis back.
Oh yeah.
Rick Moranis is here,
And the
but
nice
like as
thing
a
is-
dark killer,
and
like
the
as
nice
a
thing-
really grim performance from him.
Yeah, the nice thing about Rick Moranis is we don't have to do any special effects. He's already that little.
He's
so.
he's like they never fixed him after the movie. That's what they don't know. Like practical effects were huge when Honey I Shrunk the Kids were made, and so they really found a way to shrink Rick Moranis, little teeny bug Rick Moranis.
bug.
He's just a little bug, and he's lived that way the whole time. That's why he's been out of the limelight. You know, he hasn't been making any movies and stuff.
It's true.
No, he has his own very real reasons for not acting and stuff, but he is still
it is
tiny,
and very
teeny,
important
tiny.
and very like look into that beautiful man.
He's love him. God bless you, Rick Moranis. We love it. We love and appreciate you
We
here on the
love you.
podcast.
and also
But,
sorry
like,
for your life.
Consider our pitch to come. Hello, we're now you're the shark, and we are coming to you and saying, "Hey, come do this really grounded, really deep." Serial killer performance. I'd be super into
That
that.
would
I
be
don't feel
super
like you're
dope.
on this train with me.
no,
I'm
of course I'm
here-
on this train.
I'm
Are
here
you
for
kidding me?
this.
I'm here for this. I
Evil,
want Rick
sinister
Moranis.
Rick Moranis.
Dude, that sounds incredible.
Give me a Nick Cage year, but of Rick Moranis, just
And he's
like
like-
him in all these different roles.
He like brings people to his house to like try out the experiment, but then he turns them small and then just like steps on them like they're little bugs.
Yeah, I feel like but like he gets really creative with it. Like he's trying to find different ways to like squish a person.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, what
like
can
put
we
someone
do?
in a mouse
Yeah,
trap.
he's gonna
Put
like
someone through a hamster
he's gonna
wheel.
like draw and quarter them with a bunch of lab rats.
Ooh.
Oh God, can you
Ooh, that's
imagine?
fucked, yeah.
That's messed up.
That's pretty
Ooh,
cool,
this
though.
is dark.
It's pretty fun.
Is this too dark?
But then, like one of them, our main character, our protagonist, like escapes and ends up becoming friends of the mice,
Mhm.
and like disguises himself as a mouse.
Okay.
and then ends up like
hold
riding
on.
mice
Now
into
is-
victory.
And now is he wearing like a mouse costume, like when you get a Spirit Halloween, or is he wearing like the furs of a
furs
mouse
of
that
a
he
dead
bested in
mouse. Yeah,
challenge?
yeah.
exactly.
Turns into like a Dances with Wolves situation where
Yes.
he is dancing with the mice because
He's
that's all I know about that movie.
dances with mice. That's all that happens in this movie. This guy goes out and dances with a bunch of wolves.
He
There's
does.
like this beautiful ballet, like Swan Lake or some shit. You know.
I've been thinking about this a lot. So in Tarzan, it's very obvious to me now after posing this question to many groups of people
How
that-
many groups of people?
that too many, arguably. It's very obvious to me now that Tarzan definitely had sex with the apes
100%.
before he had sex with Jane because
Yep.
he didn't understand women.
He didn't
He didn't
know.
understand human.
No,
flesh.
of course.
I promised I wouldn't talk about sex at all this episode, and
You
there it is.
literally did.
It's
No
fine.
joke. Peek behind the curtain for a second. Derek said we need to stop bringing up sex on the podcast, and I looked at him and said, "Do we or do you?"
Fuck you. You do it too. You can't put this all on me.
I'm not
Okay,
innocent of
okay.
that in any sense.
My point is,
Yes.
everybody knows this about Tarzan.
Why
Now
are
it's
we?
what-
Yeah,
it's-
that's what everybody thinks. He meets up with Jane and like, well, he definitely fucked those monkeys first for sure.
I mean,
though.
they at least fooled around. They at least get like.
Do you think
I want to know.
him
Will
and
you
Turk
show me?
explored each other's bodies?
I was talking about this yesterday. Last night, I brought this up to other people. And I was like, Turk. They you know,
You know, they get
they
close.
explore.
Yeah.
They figure.
They
out.
don't have the
also,
same societal norms as us, right? That's probably just
Yeah.
like a Tuesday for them.
And gender doesn't matter. Gender is just a construct out in the
course,
world.
yeah.
Like you fuck whatever you want.
Tarzan,
anyway,
them's just monkeys. You see a pretty monkey, you go, ooga, ooh, ooh.
ooga chugga, ooga ooga ooga
The
chugga.
funniest part
I
about
can't
I was
stop
in a
this
production of
feeling.
Tarzan the musical, and they have written out like what he says as a monkey. It's like ooh ooh ooh. Like they have to write that out, and a person has to say those lines, and I think it's the funniest thing.
Hold me. I was just giving you a backup
Ah, I'm fucking a monkey.
See, we switched it. I said hooked on a monkey. You said I'm fucking a monkey.
hate it
We
here.
both same bait, same
What
bait.
is the point? What are you? So yeah,
I was just gonna say, so Dances with Wolves. Did he fuck the wolves?
fucking with wolves,
that,
fucking
was,
with
that
monkeys.
was my whole thing. Okay, moving on. So
Camp
let's talk
Pleasant
about
Lake.
Camp Pleasant Lake, where absolutely no sex happened. Luckily,
Yeah, I
Um,
guess not. Which is usually a trope that happens in camp movies, right?
But I
Thanks
will
to Friday
argue-
the 13th.
I will argue, and I would die in a boat.
It sounds like
saying
you're
this.
you're up kind of high, right?
Am I getting on a high horse?
I feel like you're on a high horse right now.
It's me, High Horse Palomino. It has been weeks. I am not here enough. How are you?
I'm great. How are
How's
you doing?
everybody?
Are you
You
staying
good?
away from Tarzan? I hear he's kind of a freak right
Oh,
now.
me and Tarzan, we go way back. Why is this hurting Derek's voice so much today? I don't know.
It's been too long. He has to like pull it from the depths of within
Pull
him
it
to
out
be
like my what
high horse Palomino. So we don't lose the point because we
Beep, beep,
always
beep.
do this.
Beep,
You
beep,
came
beep,
in here
beep,
to get on your high
beep,
horse
beep, beep.
to talk about sex in camp movies, yes?
No, I was actually specifically talking about how I feel like my high horse is I don't think anyone in this movie had ever seen a horror movie before.
No.
I feel like all of the production staff who like directed and wrote and all this stuff, they had never watched a horror movie, and if they have, they've only seen those like super like B movie horror movies that like not like the good B movies though, like the bad horror movies like your Birdemics and stuff like that.
To tell you, since we bullshit for so long, to tell you a little bit about this movie, it's basically there is a camp being run by these people as like an all-out horror experience that you pay $10,000 for to go to and experience horror. And it does not seem like anyone in this movie, any of the writers knew what that meant except like murders and blood. And that is it.
Yeah.
That is all they knew about
And
this stuff.
we'll get into that.
And we'll get into that
just
stuff. But yeah, like it doesn't seem like anyone working on this movie understood anything about what makes horror any scary or good or any of that stuff really.
Anyway, so before we get into that, we got to do our recap. What have you been up to the last couple weeks?
What have I been up to the last couple weeks? Nothing. I have no time to do anything.
Yeah.
I wish I had more time. I'm currently in a show, a musical that takes up all of my lifetime, and that's basically all I get to do.
I'm also kind of in the same boat. I'm not in a musical right now, but I feel just incredibly busy. I'm like always
all the time.
doing things and working.
What have we been watching recently? I know you've had more time to catch a couple movies. What have you seen?
I haven't actually watched any movies. I got caught up on The Boys, which is a great time.
You watched The Shining.
I did watch
you finished reading the book.
Was that since?
It's been like 2 weeks.
Is that really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, yeah, I watched The Shining. And listen, guys, I really love the book The Shining, and the movie is also great in its own right. But let me tell you, they aren't that different. A lot of people say that they're very, very different.
That's all I've heard. They're like worlds apart.
They are different in a lot of ways, but they keep some of the same story beats. The last fourth of the movie is completely different than the book. It should have been a creature feature, which I found out while reading the book.
Wild.
And it was not.
No creatures to be had except Jack Nicholson, who's a creature in his own right, in his own way,
in his own pants. And the thing about it is, I am now really into Stephen King.
Yeah, you kind of dive deep into that.
So yeah, I've started reading The Stand now, which is like his big.
He's got like a stack of
magnum
Stephen
opus.
King books now. He's got a couple of them now.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I can't remember anything I've watched. I watched Metropolis from 1927. That's a pretty cool like one of the earliest like sci-fi movies that really like paved the way for most science fiction movies we know in this world. You know, it's got the typical class struggles. You've got, the rich people living up in this nice metropolis, this nice society. Underneath them, you've got the poor slave workers basically powering the city with the machine and such. Someone coming in saying, this ain't right, we're going to revolutionize this and take it away. There's a scientist who makes a cool robot. It's actually a really, really cool movie.
It is, and it really set precedent for a lot.
It's insane. Like
so
literally
much took inspiration.
Literally movies that have been released this year, I can still see like how they can be pulled from Metropolis, right? From this early rendition of science fiction, which I love. Super cool movie though. Check it out. I love it. It's a silent film if you guys are into that. There have been a couple renditions of it. I found out actually like Giorgio Moroder, like one of like godfathers of like the synthesizer, he apparently released his own version of the movie.
Oh, really?
What's a weird thing about this though is like I like silent movies when it's like a person goes you can't see what they're saying, then there's a title card that has what they said on it, right?
Yeah.
He didn't like that apparently, so he took those out and just made them subtitles instead.
Interesting.
As to not like interrupt the flow of the movie. And it's super weird. I don't know if I like that, but it does have a pretty kick-ass like synth soundtrack to it, which is kind of cool.
That's dope.
But yeah, that's that. Derek, did you ever go to camp as a kid? I think we talked a little bit about this on a past episode at some point, right?
I went to a few camps as a kid.
You were a camper.
I was so scared. I was always so scared. I was like, Mom, I don't want to go. And she'd be like, go, just go. Please get away from me.
I went to camp once, and I was scared.
I was scared.
It was a scary experience.
Well, it was hard because like one of the big camps we always went to, there was like a kid who died in one of the... They were like these cabins that only had 3 walls. They were like open cabins. I can't remember what they're called. And there was one time where, I mean, God rest his soul, like lightning struck the building.
What?
And then one of the nails got electrified and shot into him.
Whoa.
And killed him.
Jesus.
And that happened like a very, very close to when I was going to the camp.
That's insane.
And my worst fear already was lightning.
Getting struck by it, yeah.
Yeah, and so... I was so scared to go on any camp.
I feel
And
like
anytime I
there's
think about camping, I always think about that.
There's already fear because like why I wanted to bring this up is because like I've only been camping. I only went to a camp one time, and that entire time there's like a constant fear of like I could get murdered at any point. I'm like in the middle of nowhere, either a bear or some kind of animal or some murderer is going to get me. One of the other camp members, Jason Voorhees, is going to come get me. There's already enough scared factor around just camping or being at a camp, and then you had like a real ass reason, real kid who died.
Yeah, that's
lightning.
freaky.
That's terrifying.
Well, and I remember like sleeping there. It's actually kind of funny. I was sleeping and my buddy was like in the bunk below me, and I like tried to wake him up because I was like scared. I was like, dude, I need help.
Yeah.
And he like had a sleeping condition, and he leaned over and he just decked me right in the face.
What the fuck?
He wasn't awake. He had no idea what he was doing.
Oh, so he did not.
No,
So,
he
so-
wasn't
so
like
he was
consciously
out. He was passed
punching
out.
me in the face. He was just like, go away. And he just like punched
But
me right in the face.
In his sleep state, he's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
And just punched you. Did he get you pretty good?
Oh yeah, it was right in the nose.
God damn.
I just like cried a little and went to
So
sleep.
you just like go to bed, blood rushing down through your nose.
Yeah, it was-
Jesus.
sad.
Derek's sitting here. But
and then
hey,
I was
maybe,
like, lightning strike me down.
But did it help you sleep?
I don't remember.
Were you just like so
Probably.
exhausted? Like
Probably.
It probably like tired you out. I would
I was
assume.
tuckered.
I
was plumb tuckered.
tuckered out after that kid done decked me in the face.
Well, but what I will say is I've never been to a camp like this, and it's not hard to not go to a camp like this. Let's talk about Camp Pleasant Lake.
Camp Pleasant Lake was quite an experience for sure.
But first, what are you drinking?
What am I drinking today? Well, I'm drinking. I actually haven't even taken a sip of this.
Go ahead and live reaction. Take a
Live
sip of it.
reaction. Okay, here we go. Ready for the sip sound? This is for all you ASMR lovers out there. Ah, da 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 da. That's cinnamony. That's wicked cinnamony.
Oh,
Bilbo, is that you?
hello, it's me.
From the depths of the Bilbos?
Yes. So I watched this movie with you all. I don't say y'all because I'm not a country boy. I watched
And
this
you always have
movie.
to make a point to be an asshole about it. Be like, you all.
You period
Y'all
all
isn't
period.
a word.
Anyway, so what I gave you today is just one shot with some ice.
That's it?
That's it. And do you know why? Do you know why?
I was told
because
this
you
was supposed to be a secret.
and you spent so much money for this drink, and all you get was some watered down shot.
Okay.
Oh.
I see.
You see what
I
I'm
get
doing
what
there?
you're saying.
You see what I'm doing there?
So you wasted. So I gave you $10,000, and this is what this is all I get for this.
And this is all you get.
Can I have my money back, Bilbo?
No.
Please, I see.
Because
it's
I promise
sticking out
it
of your-
will get better
It's
later.
sticking out of your
It
pocket.
will
right?
get
I don't
better.
think it will. I think it will get
It will-
worse
no,
because
no,
the
no.
water is going to water. The ice will water it down.
The
Bilbo.
water's gonna water. And listen.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
You're gonna need
just
this.
gonna
You're
slowly
gonna
take
get
my
away
money
from
out
my
of your pocket.
freaking pocket. You're gonna need this. This
Oh,
was
is
a
that right?
twofold joke. One, you gotta be freaking plastered to appreciate
To
this
appreciate
movie.
this
And
wonderful
two,
film.
you gotta appreciate watered down alcohol. So here, have some Fireball with a lot of ice.
Thank you, Bilbo bartender.
I also put the flesh of 1,000 nuns in there.
Okay, good. Yeah, we needed some of that.
Soupy twist.
The flesh of nuns. What does that have to do with this movie? Maybe it'll come up sometime.
Will it?
It will. Did you forget? It's fine. It'll make sense in a moment. Derek,
made a reference on accident.
Derek, take me behind the camera. Tell me a bit more about this movie. It's just in latest telegram.
You ever do Norse code with your nose? Nose code. All right, so Camp Pleasant
Nose
Lake.
code.
The Rotten Tomatoes score. So the whole reason I picked this movie is I was looking through 2024 releases because we've kind of got this thing going where I do newer movies, Isaac does older movies. This is
Unintentionally, we're not like. It's just
it was
who we are.
unintentional for a while,
It's
and then
just
I was
who
like,
we are
why
as
don't we do that?
people. I've never gone and been like, "Oh, well, that movie's too new, so I can't do it." It's just like who we.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
what we-
you've picked new movies.
This is the different flavors we bring to the podcast.
Different strokes for different goats.
Exactly.
So anyway, the Rotten Tomatoes for this movie is the reason I picked it because the critic score is at 11%, the audience score is at a 93. It was at 95 when we picked the movie, and now it is at 93.
I have some thoughts about that personally that I will not share now, but at some point down the line, I must scream about what's
You have a
happening.
mouth and you must.
I have a mouth and I must scream.
That's a book. Yeah, so just like taking a look here, I put in my review and I was hoping that the Rotten Tomato score would go down. It did not.
Oh,
It did not go
damn.
down. It is still at 93. I don't think my one review made a difference, but maybe if you added yours,
But you're
maybe
so
we could.
influential in the Rotten Tomatoes world right now. Everybody loves Derek.
Not really. Okay, so
One day, though. One day. We're manifesting it.
Manifest Destiny. Letterboxd is sitting at a 2.4. IMDb is at a 3.3. Okay, so I scoured the internet.
We scrubbed.
I almost emailed the production company for a comment, but the problem is I would have had to send 9 emails, so I didn't send anybody an email.
I wonder if they ever sent us anything back anyway.
Oh, the guy! Remember that guy from that one movie, Cupid?
Yeah, who basically
Cupid.
like, sorry, I don't have anything to do with that. Contact these people.
Yeah, but I didn't. It
No.
was just funny that I did get an email back from their production
Kinda
company, which
wild.
was kind of crazy.
Actually pretty crazy.
It's insane that he checks his emails.
Yeah.
Man, we need to do something from that production company again, just so I can send him another email.
There was a lot, if you recall. There was a whole website full of those, literally hundreds of options. I don't know if I'm ready to be hurt again.
Well, you got hurt this week.
I sure did, Derek. So
too.
you scoured the internet.
I scoured the internet to try to find any budget or any production information. I mean, I know Count Trivia was having trouble finding trivia, so like there was a lot.
Don't tell them I can't. They'll figure it out later. Don't tell them.
You good?
Derek,
Yeah. What's up?
tell them?
You tell him how I love you.
Are you gonna embarrass me on the podcast?
You embarrass me constantly, Count Trivia.
I'm good
You were
at my
supposed to turn
job.
me into a vampire like 8 weeks ago, and you still haven't.
What? And Derek, if you don't tell them, I promise, vampire promise, I will turn you into a vampire.
Vampire promise?
Vampire promise.
What are you gonna curl your little wing around my wing and shake it?
It's a sacred tradition, and I'd rather you didn't make fun of it, please.
Will you?
tell them I'm bad, and I'll turn you into a vampire.
Now you're singing "Bad" by Michael Jackson.
You know I'm bad. I'm bad. You know it.
Shimon.
In the whole world, there's a bloodsucker right now. Just tell you once again,
Who's
I'm
bad? Pretty good. That was really funny, actually. That was.
But I don't think he wants you to tell them. There's no trivia. Oh shit! Hey, Isaac. Yes, Count Trivia. It's me, Count Trivia. Hey, that's pretty good. Yeah, what's up, Count Trivia?
I heard you do this voice a lot.
You're pretty good at it, actually.
Blah,
Blah blah. Yeah, okay.
That was fun.
That's
I
all.
got to do Count Trivia.
Count
He was
Trivia
on the
wanted
left
to do
side
his own
today.
voice to me.
Anyway, I could not find
Anyway.
anything on this movie. So, budget, I think it was about $10,000 per camper.
must be.
Grossed a whole lot of gross, man.
Grossed a whole lot of nasty.
What I can tell you is this movie only had a very limited theatrical release, and it was mostly released on VOD.
Uh-huh.
We watched it on Stars, which is hilarious to me that it's on the Stars, streaming service.
And it's kind of funny. There's on it like every so often in the movie, in the bottom right corner, you'll see their logo pop up. And Derek in the middle of that was like, "Stars, I don't know if you want to put your name on that. Stars, you
Yeah,
might want to
man.
leave this one out.
I want to take that one back.
Just get that watermark out of there so you have plausible deniability."
Yeah, I wish I had more to talk about the production of this movie. There's nothing.
Well, we're sorry. We really try. And usually this is the case if we find a movie that has no critics review but does have an audience review, really, really unknown movie. This one somehow has both, and yet neither of us could find jack shit about what made this movie a movie. It even has, Derek, you want to tell them who stars in this movie there? Because I feel like there are 2 actors that were kind of a selling point for this movie.
Yeah, so you've got Jonathan Lipnicki. We'll go over who that is in a second.
Mm-hmm.
And you've also got Jackson Everest.
I don't know that. Do you know the other person I was thinking of?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find her. I can't remember her name. Oh, Bonnie Aarons. So Jonathan Lipnicki, real quick.
That name sounded familiar to both of us.
We were
We're
concerned.
I know this
We're like,
fella, this
what?
guy.
Man, he just sounds really squeaky.
And we go back to
and
our Wayback
little-
Machine
little-
in our brains.
Oh,
Like,
he
what
was
is it?
in
What is
Jerry
it?
Maguire. He was the little kid in Jerry Maguire. No, that couldn't be it.
No, that's not it.
Stuart
Mike?
Little.
Stuart Little.
Stuart Little. He was George Little. He was the kid from Stuart Little.
Stuart Little only has a 6-star rating on IMDb. Now, I don't know about that.
Now that movie kicks so much ass, man.
Stuart Little is a great movie. Hugh Laurie is there.
Hugh Laurie is there.
He's a wonderful man.
Danny DeVito is not in it, even though we've discussed
We
that.
can't
it's,
do this
It's
again.
crazy that we've talked about. There's a freaking cat. There's a pussy cat
I'm
right
pretty
there.
sure it talks. I'm pretty sure it's a talking
it
cat.
is. It is. God.
He's so cute.
Michael J. Fox was Stuart
I
Little.
forgot Michael J. Fox was Stuart
Nathan
Little.
Lane was the cat.
Oh
Nathan
my
Lane.
God.
Hey, it's me, Nathan Lane. I'm a cat.
I'm a cat now.
Get your mouse checked.
Little puss, kind of ironic, don't you think?
Why is that ironic?
Because he's gay.
What does that have to do with Puss Puss?
Nothing. Never mind. I forget. I
understand.
love Nathan Lane. Nathan Lane, you're an icon, and I love and miss
Oh,
you.
Gina Davis is Miss Little, and then you got
Gina
little,
Davis could get it. Sorry. Hold on. The cast of Stuart Little has just got like some bangers in there. Gina Davis.
Well,
is
yeah,
up in
Gina
there,
Davis
Nathan
is in.
Lane, and Hugh Laurie.
How come I've never known your love for Gina Davis?
She's just beautiful. Look at her. Come on. Gina Davis could get it. She doesn't come up often, Derek. When are we ever seeing a lot of movies with Gina
Dottie
Davis in it?
Hinson from A League of Their Own, or Veronica Quaife from The Fly,
From The Fly,
or
Listen,
Thelma
The Fly
from
kicks
Thelma
ass.
and Louise.
Her and it's me. What's my name? I can't just Jeff Goldblum.
Jonathan
That's
Lithgow.
Jeff Goldblum. I'm a fly now. I'm a little nasty little guy. Can that be our replacement?
was
Since
pretty good.
technically the Fly, if you go back in our lore, the Fly died.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Crass Janty was sad about it. He's like, this man is not the same as the Fly. It's me. I'm just a little. I'm a fly.
I'm.
Come on, give me your
I'm
Jeff
the
Goldblum.
Fly. I'm the Fly, and what you don't understand. No, that's Christopher Walken. I've never tried Goldblum.
The thing
before.
you have to do literally is like I have
stutter
to
everything.
move my hands in this weird circular motion. Like
circular
it's
motion.
big, it's out there, and I love it.
Wow,
Yes,
it's
weird.
big. I was naked once.
I was naked.
Everybody
I was a
loves
fly
me. I'm
covered
so
in hair.
sexy.
Oh, and I kissed Gina Davis like a
Kissed
lot.
Gina Davis so
It's
much.
it's getting away from me. I'm moving away from. He's devolving.
Well, I think our version of a fly would be like a bad version of that voice.
Oh,
So
absolutely. You kidding me?
this checks out. We're actually good voice actors.
So anyway, Jonathan Lipnicki is here, who was the little kid in Stuart Little. And I don't remember him from anything other than
he
that.
was in Jerry Maguire. We
I know,
talked about this.
yeah, I know he's done other things, but like that is sincerely, really all I know.
I
him
have
from.
never personally seen the Wishmaster films, but we also have Andrew Divoff, who played the Wishmaster.
He's like a
in
djinn,
Wishmaster.
like this genie character, and he's got a pretty menacing voice. I don't know if I loved his performance in this movie, but his voice is definitely.
I'm gonna ask you a real serious question, real quick.
Yeah,
what
what's up?
performance? He was not in this
He
movie.
was hardly in this movie at all, actually. But the couple of lines he said, a little spooky. He's like, "I run Camp Hope. It's me. I'm the guy." What's funny is in the casting for this movie, his name is literally like evil
Evil
man.
Man.
He
Yeah.
does not have a name. Even the Bonnie Aarons, who plays the nun, which we didn't mention, Bonnie Aarons
Oh, yeah.
of Nun fame
I was
plays a
getting back
woman
to it.
named Esmeralda. They never say her name out loud, I don't think.
do
but
once.
she gets a name. He does not. He's just evil man.
Someone like runs up to her and goes, Esmeralda,
Esmeralda. As all of her kids are kind of kissing up on her. God, guys, this movie is so weird.
Don't let her
And we're putting it
free
off because
and
what can we
vanish
even
in
say
the
about this
night.
movie?
These are the flames of Esmeralda.
Anybody Hunchback of Notre Dame? Okay. Yeah, so you get it. But yeah, no, she's the freaking nun
The
from The
Nun.
Nun, you know?
You
Like,
know, the nun from The Nun.
And if you can't think about The Nun from The Nun, just imagine you like look away and then you look back and then the nun's there.
And then there she is. Goodness, Derek, should we get into our expectations for this
Probably.
movie? It's probably time for us to get the ball rolling on
Let's
this
get the
whole
ball
film
rolling.
here. Generally, I was expecting not a wonderful time. I was not looking forward to this. I don't think either of us were, actually. I think we were both
No,
like,
I was pretty dreading
oh
it.
boy, here we go. Here's my pickaxe and my little light on my head. I'm going into the mines to get content for this podcast.
Really though, my general expectation was definitely I'm gonna laugh so much.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick though, I do want to talk about Thomas Walton.
Who is Thomas Welton?
He directed and wrote and did the cinematography and the screenplay for this movie.
Whoa, okay, yeah, so he's got it all under his belt.
So yeah, he is just cranking out music videos, and I don't know why he went from music videos to a full film,
A
feature
full
film.
horror movie.
But yeah.
So that's really all he's done then is just like music videos for things?
Yeah, and those are mostly produced. This is actually one of his first directorial
Oh my god!
things. He's
Well, he
done a few little
directed
things,
for
but-
Soulja Boy. Apparently, I didn't even know
Lambflow.
Soulja Boy was still doing things in 2023. Is Soulja Boy back?
Soldier Boy might be back.
Yo,
He's probably not doing that anymore.
No,
'cause
bro.
I'm sure his hips don't really allow
You think
it
he's
anymore.
sick of that? Actually, you think someone comes out? Oh, it's Soulja.
Oh,
You is like,
absolutely.
please,
Please,
can we
please.
just not?
Say me.
I'm an adult now.
it's-
Like, let's just.
It's not you
It's
anymore.
just you. It's
about
Mr.
me.
You, actually. It's Mr. Call me Mr. Boy.
Can I tell you something kind of shocking though
Yeah,
that
what's
I
up?
just learned?
What?
He has directed and written 2 other horror movies.
Now hold on, Derek. I don't mean to
Before
be
this.
I don't mean to be a peeping tom, but you're looking at one called Room 9 right now.
Yeah.
And if you scroll back down to that cast list there, who's that? Who's the first name there? Kane Hodder. i.e., Jason Voorhees, the actor that played him in like 90% of the
you're
Jason in the
right.
Friday the 13th movies.
Oh my god.
No wonder he wanted to do the whole camp trope thing.
Well, yeah.
But that's wild. He got like a good actor in this thing.
But this one's rated lower than the one we watched.
Oh no. I didn't think it could be possible, but here we are.
He released 2 horror movies this year.
What?
They turned us into killers.
Yep, 2024.
What the
Wowee.
fuck?
Kane
And
Hodder's in that one
Hodder's in this
too.
You couldn't get him for freaking Camp Pleasant Lake.
I
huh?
mean,
the
listen-
actual slasher movie.
Listen, he's sitting here like I imagine Kane Hodder sits in like a mostly empty room with a chair, and he's sitting there staring at this red phone in front of him, waiting for the day that they call him up to be like, "Hey, Kane, we're doing it again. We're rebooting Friday the 13th."
Oh my
Because
goodness.
I feel like there's so many remakes happening nowadays and reboots
Yeah.
of stuff. Friday the 13th remains untouched.
It does.
They were gonna make that series with A24, and then it got canned, which sucks.
Wait, didn't they make one in like 2007 with what's
Oh
his
yeah,
face?
that was a while ago with,
Oh, that
with
doesn't
Jared Padalecki. Is that
Yeah.
his name? Yeah, they made one of
It
those.
was Padalecki because he was paddling
Jared
on a lake.
paddling on. God, that's good.
That's-
Jared
it's funny.
Padalecki.
So my first expectation is that this movie would have some camp. Get it? Because they're at a camp.
a little bit of a double entendre there. Hey, that's a good joke. Hey, Derek, you made a good joke.
Kid actors.
No, kid. Well,
a little bit.
we did not have this as our expectations. Apparently,
There are some kid
some
actors,
kid
though.
actors in this movie, and we can talk about them later. My first expectation was lots of money put into bad actors because we watched a quick trailer, and my immediate thought was like, it seems like the production value on this is higher than something of that of like Birdemic or something like that.
It really
right?
gave that vibe, and I think it's just because they had a drone.
Yeah, the drone shots really make it seem like they got money to be spending on movies like this. But yeah, so I thought lots of money put into some really poor actors. Just
absolutely.
not a good time there.
This will be more. Bleh, bleh, bleh. There will
Bleh,
be
bleh,
less
bleh, bleh,
pleasant and more drowning in a lake. Get it?
Oh,
Camp
I
Pleasant
see.
Lake, but they're going to be Camp Drowning Lake.
Yeah, it'd be so pleasant to be
fuck.
drowned by this movie because it's so bad, right, Derek? It's me, Puny the Punter. No words to say. You're a broken man now. Have I killed you, Derek? Do we need to, are you okay? Do you need something? Some snacks? Some refreshments? It's lake day, I got the snacks all ready up for we're going out to the lake, right? You and me, Derek, just us in the big open road. I've been planning this for years now because I've always loved you, Derek. And he's still saying nothing. He's just gonna let me hang here and drown. Now I'm drowning.
A baby?
Baby.
He died.
You killed him.
That was fun.
You
I
killed him
like-
with your silence.
You often just let me go places, so I thought that time was a great opportunity.
But you can survive out
You
there.
can
I am
survive
not the improv man.
I think Isaac can survive. I don't think Puny Punter can survive.
Puny Punter
and I'll be honest, I
cannot.
just let him die,
Yeah, you just let him die.
which
But
is the
again,
opposite of what you do in improv. In improv, you help each other, and there's no crying.
Going back to our lore, Puny the Punter is like a phoenix, so he will die and come back again.
And it'll be funny for a little while, but then it
then
starts
it-
wearing
then it
off,
dies
and then he
off.
has to die again.
So my second expectation was trope heaven.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like this is going to be a movie that heavily relies on things like super intense music where it's probably not necessary and jump scares, really corny kills, just like all of the tropes you could possibly think of, and this one big gumbo mashed together. Here it is, trope heaven.
Yeah, man. My next one is the worst acting.
Ugh.
Just the worst acting.
Blech. Just terrible acting. I said my third expectation, this movie could easily be 45 minutes shorter. I had nothing to
That's
base
pretty
that
on
off
the
of. I just really like, we've seen enough of these now where we can tell when a movie is really stretched out
Yeah.
way further than it needs to be just to be like a feature-length film, making it what this movie was an hour and a half long, something like that.
It was only an hour and a
It
half.
felt like the longest
I
movie
thought it
we've
was like
ever
2.5
watched.
hours.
Yeah, it was like it's around an hour and 30 minutes. But I really felt like this was going to be one of those where like this movie did not need to be this long. Could have been 45 minutes long tops.
Yeah, easy. A dialogue that brings me closer and closer to the dialogue.
It is me, the dialogue.
Hey, dialogue. So I've decided to bring you on as a character. Whenever there's bad dialogue, we bring on the dialogue.
It has been many moons since you have brought me onto the podcast.
It's good to see
I
you.
have seen many deaths and many movies of their dialogues and their dialogues.
Yeah.
It brings me much shame on this great nation of ours.
Hey, I heard you and Scripty Scripto got together.
We are vastly in love, and I cannot show any more emotion than this, but trust me, I am the happiest I have ever been.
I could kind of hear it.
You can hear the tinge in my voice, yes.
I could hear the tinny.
Honey,
the tinge.
honey, will you please come here, Scrippy Scripto, my love?
Hello, it's me, Scripty Scripto.
They don't like to bring us onto the podcast anymore.
No, I know. But they brought me on for a while.
Honey, you sound a little sad. Are you all right?
Well, I've been married to you for a week now.
Is this not the happiest you have ever been?
I was happier when I was on meth.
Who did you get the meth from? That science fuck? I'm going to take my great sword and go slay this beast for you,
No, I
for
got it
your
from
honor.
the horse.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going? What's up? Oh my God, what's up? Did you just kill Science Jim?
Dialogue just killed. Why do we have our characters interact? It never goes well. We keep having characters meet up and something horrible happens. Last time we had like Bawhead, Bex, and Gooper meet. Now they're one amalgamation. It's crazy. We still have more expectations to get through. I said my fourth expectation was some surprising kills. It seemed like through the trailer it might be a bad production, a bad acting, but they might actually shock us with some like pretty decent kills in this movie.
Yeah, that's funny because my final expectation, some cool kills.
Yeah.
Because passion breeds creativity.
Absolutely.
That is one thing that I've been taught over all of these movies that we've watched. Is like, if someone has a passion project, they have good ideas. It doesn't matter how bad the movie is, quote unquote, or like how rough a script is or anything. If they have passion, it can breed creativity. So the kills are usually the things that are creative.
And I feel like sometimes it ends up being like the execution of it doesn't go incredibly well, but like you say it out loud, the idea sounds pretty cool.
Take The Mean One, for example. Yeah. Like, The Mean One was not a great movie at all, like very similar to this one in some ways, but the kills in that movie were super creative.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what I was hoping for.
And then my final expectation was just stupid motives. I felt like either the reason this camp was happening or the reason that the killer was killing people, like I thought it was going to be really stupid, just like bad motives. Because that's something you don't think about. Even if there's a cool killer and there's some cool kills, if by the end you do the big reveal, you unmask the killer Scooby-Doo style, and they're like, yeah, this is my reasoning. You're like, that's it?
That's it?
That's why you turned to murder and we're killing all of these people for a whole movie? That sucks. Now the whole movie sucks as a result.
Really, though.
That's us on expectations. Is it time to get into this?
Splish Splash, I was taking a bath. Ooby Gabby, I was rubbing a rabby.
I'm gonna walk right past that one. I would love to start out in this movie, but unfortunately, it takes us a minute to actually get to the movie proper because we start out with a whopping 6 different production company title cards.
The funny thing is there are 9 production companies.
So there could have been more.
Yeah.
So they spared us by not adding those other 3.
Thank you.
But it was one of those things where we sat there and we were like, is this for real? Oh, another one. Oh, okay. Well, now, no, they're good. It must be over now, right? No, they kept going.
It's that Family Guy bit where they're just sitting there watching the title cards over
and over again. You know it, you love it. But then once all of those title cards are over, we get this one up in like the font of the movie, this like crisscross like horror font that they found on Google. It says, "They say you cross paths with at least 20 killers in your lifetime and don't even know it." ... It's just like how The Strangers started out, right? Except I did like, we were talking about this during the movie, I like the fact that in The Strangers that was like, that's this many people per second or per minute, this many people since this movie started. Like that was kind of a cool way to kind of take that, right? This one is just like, okay, what does that have to do with anything? Is that just a spooky fact you found?
Yeah.
And based on what? Where did you find this information? Is that true? I don't even know.
I'm going to Google it.
Do it. Something about all of the camera work and the lighting makes it feel so dull and still. Like, I don't really know how else to describe that, but like everything about this just feels so stagnant and boring, and it just like really pulled me out from the first shot, right? So we see 2 dudes driving down the road at night. They come across some random woman having car troubles on the side of the road. So the first guy, his name is Hunter, goes up to this girl and he's like, "Oh, you need some help?" She's like, "Oh, yes, please. That would be so much help. I'm written to be a helpless girl, so I don't know how to work with cars." And then he tells her he's been hired to help turn this old camp into like this horror event experience. It used to be called Camp Pleasant Lake, and now it's called Camp Echo Lake in the rebrand of the whole thing.
Which definitely isn't like confusing at all.
It's super confusing. The movie is called Camp Pleasant Lake, but now it is being rebranded as Camp Echo Lake. It's a whole
I don't
thing.
understand it.
No.
I don't understand it. My phone over across the room heard me say Google, and it is currently
picking up everything
we're
that we're saying. How long will it go?
I don't know how long it will go.
Go
but that's
Google,
the power
go
of
Google,
technology.
Go. This is the power of Google.
This is the power of Google.
Go Google, go Google, go. Go into Google and you go and you search. Go and you Google and you buy lots of merch.
That was pretty good. I have a question though.
Yeah, what's up?
Why are you such a good rapper all of a sudden?
I've been listening to a lot of Hamilton after our last musical episode.
Have you?
I'm worried that your phone is still going. Should we stop it?
No. We keep going.
We're just gonna get this entire episode down. This is how we get our whole
This is how
episode
we
written
get-
out.
yeah.
This is how we.
This is our
should have been doing it
transcription
the
right
whole time. So anyway, he tells this girl that he's going to this camp, and she immediately kind of gets this reaction like. You mean the old Camp Pleasant Lake? Like she clearly has some kind of history with this place all of a sudden. I don't really understand what her beef is with
No,
this whole
man.
thing. But so he begins to regale her in this story about how at this camp we immediately get this exposition dump.
Oh my god, the exposition dump in this like deserves an award or something.
Yeah.
because it happens
right
so
out
quickly.
the gate. Literally less than 5 minutes deep into this movie, we're already getting the exposition dump. And he is telling us about how 20 years ago at this camp, there was some kid who got kidnapped. And nothing, like it didn't really tell us that the kid got murdered or anything, but apparently as the parents were leaving the camp, they got murdered. And so they were like, the son got like shipped off to a foster home. The girl was never found. Like it wasn't a really good story that he was telling.
No.
Like not very interesting really at all, actually.
No, it wasn't.
But yeah, so he tells her this story about this thing, and he's still trying to help her with his car. Back in Hunter's truck, his buddy Adam he's like, oh, I'm gonna come help you out. I'm walking out of the truck, takes an axe to the back of the head from this masked killer. Now let's talk about the design of this masked killer. So it is this. It's almost like they took like a smiley, like a yellow smiley face mask, cut it in half, and then stapled it back together. And so one half of the face is like a smiley face going upwards. The other half of the face has this like frowny face going downwards. There's some blood on it. One of the eyes has this little like X covering it. Like it's certainly a unique design. I don't know if I'd say it's a good design.
No.
Like, what do you think? What do you think about this?
It's kind of. It reminds me of the old Walmart logo,
Yeah.
like the old Walmart smiley
Yeah,
face,
remember when
but
the
just
Walmart
like a
used to
little
have
messed
smile?
up.
It's kind of weird how Walmart used to have this little smiley face, and now it just has like this like corporate branded sunflower looking pattern to them. Their little logo there.
Hey, it's me, Science Jim.
Science, you're alive. You're alive and well. That sword in your belly doesn't look so good though. You're all right.
A bing.
Now,
Okay. Anyway, so the reason I'm here is I haven't been on this podcast in a long time. I thought you hated me, but then
No, we love
Derek
you.
actually asked me to Google something, so I did. He asked me to Google if you walk past 20 people who are serial killers in your life.
Right? Yeah, of course, because that's what this movie said.
There
And they
is a
can't lie in movies.
There is an article from New York Post that I found very interesting.
Posted in 2023.
Posted in 2023, so a year before this movie came out, probably around the same time, that
would
says you actually walk past 36 murderers in their lifetime.
Wow.
Now, that is kind of a crazy statistic. Now, this article actually is very interesting. I recommend you go read it if you're interested in serial killers.
It does say it does give you hints, like tips on how to spot them.
Yeah. It's like, here is all of the things about serial killers you need to know, and like what makes somebody a serial killer.
It's almost like it's like a
and-
WikiHow article. Like, here's how to spot a serial killer.
But the thing I liked about it the most is that it was specifically talking about different serial killers and what made them what we would consider normal.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And how like everybody has someone that they are hiding from the real world, right? So you don't actually know anybody.
Fair,
So
fair.
based my assumption, now again, this is just my assumption as a puppet that has come to life through
As
the
an
power of
eldritch
someone's
puppet.
bloody hand, I have an assumption that this statistic was made based on how many serial killers live, where they travel, based on how many people are in the world, right? So I'm guessing that this number went down with COVID because people weren't walking past each other anymore. But like, think about how many people you walk past in Las Vegas.
true.
If you're ever
Lots.
there.
Mhm.
Or like the strip malls.
Yeah, but if you're out in the middle of nowhere in Alabama, you're not going to walk past.
You're probably going to walk, if you're walking past 20,
Unless
if you're
every-
in the middle of Alabama and you're walking past 20 serial killers in your lifetime,
Yeah.
you run and hide.
Or what if it's like, what if the statistic works out where it's like, 36 people out of this group. So it's like, hundreds of people walking around Las Vegas. 36 of those people are going to be serial killers,
Yeah.
right? If you're living out in Alabama, in the small town, population of 36, every one of them is a
Everybody.
serial killer.
Well, and
Serial
another
killer USA.
couple things to consider though too. It's like the average person's lifespan, which is like 85 years or whatever, and then in the state of America, country, and then and then also you have to consider it's not serial killers specifically; it is just killers.
Killers.
Right, so it's someone who has committed a killing crime,
Has done a murder.
has done a murder.
I'm gonna do a kill. They said.
Not gonna lie, it's kind of scary.
That's
and
kinda
I don't
spooky.
like it at all. So we're gonna move on.
Sometimes I would love to like if after I die, I get to see like a video game statistic board about like stuff that's happened to me, and like be like, how many serial killers did I walk past in my life? And
Ding, ding, ding. 108.
What do you mean? The internet told me there were 36. God damn, I was in danger all the time.
There are 108 serial killers.
You know, I mean, there's probably a lot. I don't know.
Well, but it's not serial killers.
But that's true. This movie is about a killer, right? And so we're back into this. So back at Hunter's truck, his buddy Adam takes an axe to the back of the head, right? And so the music is unbearably loud in comparison to the rest of
It
the
was
movie.
comically loud. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like,
It's just like,
hey, I'm trying to have a conversation with you. Oh, no, you're a serial killer. Oh, God.
like the music itself, fine. It wasn't that terrible. It wasn't that great either. But it was just like overpowering the dialogue
was
of
very
what was trying to
strong.
happen here. But yeah, Hunter then himself gets axed as well. Nothing incredible in either of these kills. You just see like one solid quick thwack to their heads from this. It's just the serial killer has this mask on and then like a black hoodie.
Yep.
And that's their entire outfit. The weird thing I did notice here is it doesn't seem like the girl was in cahoots with this killer, because that's what it seemed like at first. Like, oh, she's helpless on the side of the road, which has people come over. Then, you know, this killer next to her comes and axes them, right? She does run away from the situation.
Yeah.
And then we don't see her again for a very, very, very long time in this movie.
And apparently, this guy belongs to a company that specializes in pretending to murder people.
Yeah. You can't really, there's like one quick shot of the back of his like jumpsuit that he's wearing. It's like Killer something. There's like a company
Killer's
name
Inc. or something.
And so he has been hired to act as the fake killer for this horror camp experience.
Yes. Which is hilarious to me because this is like a 6 foot tall, very broad, muscular man.
Uh-huh.
And they describe the killer as a 5'5" small man.
Small girl is the
small girl.
is the killer of their acclaimed story in this
So
thing, right?
right there, there's issues.
None of it is believable. The adults. So now we find ourselves at the actual camp. Right, there's a bunch of people. The campers loading off of a bus,
Oh my
and there's
God.
a whole team of staff here. The adults running this little horror camp feel like prisoners serving out their community service.
Absolutely.
that is the actual vibe of what is going on here. They
And
just
the weirdest thing happens throughout this entire movie. We'll get it out of the way now. Where like, so there's this huge group of people,
Yep.
and then there's a huge group of people that work for the camp. The
Yes.
only way you can differentiate them is the ones who work for the camp are wearing a gray shirt,
they wear a gray shirt that has like the name of the camp on it.
and then the other people are just like wearing normal clothes.
Other than that, they get mixed and mingled so much. Sometimes it's hard to tell.
It is,
who
and
works here and who doesn't.
A lot of times, like, some people will disappear and other people will reappear. There will be new people you've never seen before.
Yeah.
Just like depending on what shots are being done.
Like, it really-
There's no continuity.
It really felt like there were only like 6 or 7 campers at this thing. But then later on, a lot of them start to get killed off, and you realize there were like 20 people at this
At
camp.
least.
And you couldn't tell because they were not always utilized in this thing.
No.
Just
And
a lot of nobodies.
Another issue here is there's so much of a nobody. There are like a select few that we're supposed to care about.
Yes.
Like specifically 2 characters. I can't for the life of me, tell you anyone's name.
I did not write
Except for
down
the 2
any
main
names.
characters,
I did
like
not write
the
down
killers.
any names really, except yes, those 2 exactly. That is it, because they're so meaningless to the story. Like
Yeah.
they're sincerely just bait to be killed at some point.
And that's really unfortunate.
They're just
Like,
slabs of meat.
I mean,
I guess.
there is something to be said for at least having characters to hook onto, so you can try to have a final girl or a final
Yes.
guy situation.
Right,
You know?
so you need to have something to root for, something that makes you scared for them, right? Because obviously you can detach yourself from it, right? You're like, I'm a person sitting in my house watching this movie. I don't feel fear.
Yeah.
But if you feel for this person and connect with them, then you feel for them when they are
Exactly.
scared. Like, oh God, I feel so tense now. My comfort character here is about to die.
Yep.
There are no comforts in any of these characters, and none of them can act.
Oh my
None.
God. I am convinced.
It is unbearable.
I am convinced that other than the nun's character and
Stuart Little's character.
and
Jonathan
Lipnicki. That's fun.
Nicky.
A little bit of Nicky.
Little Nicky.
The other than that character, those 2 characters, no one in this movie is actually an actor.
Ever.
And they were all just picked up off the side of the road or doing a favor.
Yep, they're all like friends of like the production team. People,
Because
right?
at the beginning of this movie, after all 6 logos happen, there's a big screen of names.
Yes.
And it says, we would like to thank these people. I guarantee that was their quote unquote payment for the movie.
Gotta be it, right? They're like, yeah, we'll put your name at the beginning of this movie. You'll get a special thanks. Don't even worry about it. But they're all also like over 40. Like all of these adults are like wicked old.
It's like 40 people over 40.
It's 40 people over 40. It's the new Forbes. It's like 30 over 30. It's like Forbes 40 over 40 murdered at a horror camp. There's also
That's
some
$40,000.
That's a lot.
Wait, no, that's more than that.
That's a lot of. That's like $400,000.
$400,000.
Lord, there's also up in the mix some annoying reviewer mixed in with this deadbeat adult.
yeah!
He's like ready to dig into the silly horror camp. He's like, let me get the inside scoop about this. And I wrote down a note about him because I thought he was going to be important, and he was not.
I forgot about him.
It's so funny though because it's just like every like 20 minutes or so he'll pop back up, be like, can I get your scoop on that? Can I get a review on that now? It's like, remember me, I'm the reporter, and I was supposed to be important. I feel like that was him coming up to them himself.
Oh,
being
yeah.
like, hey, it's me. I'm making big bold choices. I wonder how much of this movie was even scripted and they just like
None.
saying things because
and I couldn't find a script, so
no.
kudos to
God.
that.
But so Hunter was paid to be the killer for this camp. And so the camp members are not supposed to see him. They were expecting some murders to happen at this thing, right? So what their experience, like they show pamphlets for it a lot of the time. And they're like, on the pamphlet, it just says like an unforgettable horror experience, the scariest thing you've ever experienced. Really, all they're expecting is like to see some people do like staged murders.
Hey,
and that's pretty much
I
it.
paid a lot of money to be here. Why isn't anybody getting murdered yet?
That's all they say.
Hey, wait, I paid a lot of money. I'm ready to be scared. Yeah, I paid a lot of money.
It's awful. It's awful.
The entire
so the two owners, they're talking about how like, oh well, where's Hunter? He's our killer. We really need to make sure he's in place for our first night to get the first couple kills going. They do not have any kills actually mapped out or planned.
No.
Who is going to die? Because the gist of it is that the camp counselors, all of the people who actually work here, they're supposed to be the ones who are getting killed off slowly throughout the things.
Which is a cool idea. It's a cool idea.
Could be cool.
Yes, but here's the problem, and it started bad, and I knew it was going to end bad, and it ends bad. They literally have no idea which person is going to die.
Nope.
They don't have any sort of plan for when any of this is going to happen. If you are going to stage something like that, for one, safety reasons,
concerns,
you should have a plan, but also acting reasons. Like, you can't just go up and pretend to stab someone and hope they're going to react properly with the gore effects that you want.
Yes.
They somehow manage. It's fine. It's fine. We'll
they
keep
keep
going.
everyone in the dark, and it's just wild because, like, when people actually do start getting murdered, the camp council, the people are like, "Oh, wow, cool, awesome!" Like, you should be aware of who's going to die.
Absolutely.
You should not just be like, "Oh, I guess we're in action now. Let's go."
Yep.
People just are really for real getting murdered. It's insane.
It's fine.
So it's nighttime at camp, day one. They're having the camp counselors. They're really trying their best to set the scene. They're like, let's tell you a story about the murder of Echo from when she was a kid 20 years ago. Here we go.
And remember how we were just talking about how there's like 40 people there? Now there's like 8. There's like nobody there.
Where did
now.
everybody go all of a sudden? But so they're around a campfire telling this story. We flash back to 2002. And so remember how we had an exposition dump like 5 minutes deep into the movie? Now we get that, but expound upon for far too long. Now we're just getting all of that actually played out. So it's like either this didn't need to happen or that exposition dump didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
Either way, it didn't need it.
No.
But so we see a little girl painting in her room what looks like this iconic killer's mask. It's a yellow mask, and she's smiling like she's doing a happy face, and she hears her parents arguing in the next room, and it causes her to slip. And so it's a half smile, half frown painted onto this mask, but it's all in one piece. It doesn't look all gross and nasty right now yet. It's so silly. Her and her little brother Jasper, her name is Echo, which is why this whole camp is called Camp Echo Lake now in the rebrand for it. Her and her little brother Jasper are struggling with their parents, constantly arguing. Mom and dad are potentially getting a divorce. I say potentially because her mom says it's a divorce, but then later on it's like they're trying to make it work still as they're going to. I don't understand.
The little girl
don't
is like
understand.
struggling to understand what's going on, and the mom just like leans down and she's like, "It's a divorce, honey."
It's called a divorce, honey, but like with a smile in her voice.
She's not like caring about her daughter. They've just got a couple glasses of wine and they're just screaming at each
Which
other.
I love the fact that like they had to sit down. It's wine and argue night for them.
It is. Oh, it's Wednesday. Oh, Wargu time.
It's Wargu time. All right, I got the. You want the Pinot Noir? You want the?
I'm thinking of Cab Sav.
I got rosé. Okay, yeah, we got the Cab Sav. Okay, they're all cordial with each other, but as soon as the wine touches the table, oh, God, I hate you so much. Divorce. So now they take a very awkward family trip to some camp.
God.
So like mom and dad were just arguing over wine, and now they're like, we're gonna be late, honey. Why don't you go and get ready? And so now they're on their way to some camp somewhere at Camp Pleasant Lake is what it is, right? Dad is kind of an asshole.
Dude, he's a piece of shit.
Because the mom is driving, he's like, "Oh, you missed the turn, honey. Well, I guess this whole trip is ruined. God, I knew I couldn't trust you to drive. God, I
But
hate
also,
you."
like, what?
Just like,
why are you doing this?
You know how turns work. You can turn the car around and then
Also,
get back to the turn you
You're
missed.
just going to a camp. No one's gonna be mad if
It's
you're a
not.
little late.
They keep being like, "I'm late to camp. I'm late to camp." I'm like, dude, you'll get there at some point. I promise. Like, chill the
he
hell
needs
out.
to drop these kids off so bad.
God, he really does. But the thing is, I think they're also staying at the camp with them. I don't understand.
they?
I have no idea. We have to be grasping at straws for this entire movie to work because it's so terrible. so they miss the turn. What's funny about this is that dad was being such an asshole about being late. So he's like, all right, well, we missed the turn. We might as well stop for lunch. So they end up stopping at a restaurant.
That was not a
somewhere.
restaurant. That was someone's house decorated to try and look like a
Absolutely,
restaurant.
someone's house with just like restaurant paraphernalia to make it feel like it was an actual place of
'Cause-
business, right?
Yeah. Okay. Also, what they're eating is stupid as frick.
Yeah, it's like they went to the craft service table on set, loaded up their plates, and just brought that to the table with them.
The little boy's got a burger and fries, which is fine.
Yeah, that's fine.
The mom has a burger that's like half eaten, some chicky tenders, a banana with like 3 huge large chunks
like
of banana.
sliced up banana.
The dad, he's got 2 chicky tenders, he's got a couple watermelon chunks, and a burger with a banana. And the kid has 2 pieces of bread with some like cheese in it and some chicken,
Yeah,
like some
I-
rotisserie
I
chicken.
don't understand like how they got this amalgamation of things. Maybe it was a buffet.
I understand that it probably doesn't matter to anybody else. It was just so unrealistic.
It's just one of those things that you look at and it's strange.
And maybe
Also,
this movie's so boring
Yes.
that I wanted to focus on something.
That's
so I picked the
we
plates.
we had to make our own fun during this movie. That's one thing I can say. This is a movie we had to try our best to make the fun ourselves.
But I also love. I've never really thought about this before, but again, we were bored, so we were
Yes.
thinking about things. I love the idea that the camp counselor who's telling this story is sitting there at camp talking about what is on their plates. And he's like, all right, now the kid, he had 1 chicky tender.
That's right, because
This
like
boy.
this is one whole flashback, but it's a story being told at a campfire. So they're sitting there, like all of the campers, like it better be a scary story. And so he's sitting here, fucking delivering here.
Yeah, man.
Chicken
Chicken
tenders on his
tenders.
plate.
And the mom wanted to get watermelon, but there was only 1 chunk. Ah!
It was a horrifying massacre of dead chickens and dead cows. So they had chicken tenders and burgers.
Yeah,
But they were scary.
and they were
And
between
they took
loaves
the-
of bread.
And they took the banana under the knife. So they sliced up bananas. Is what I'm telling
I'm
the
telling-
story.
But don't even get me started on what happened to the potato. Oh!
So they're at this restaurant. The daughter Echo, she goes to the bathroom because she kind of like she doesn't like handling mom and dad arguing. She can't take it, so she goes and hides away in the bathroom. And so after she leaves the bathroom, she's sneaking around and finds this random worker named Lou. Just this kind of like this like muscly biker looking dude.
I'm Lou.
Yeah,
I work here.
yeah, because like she's kind of put off by him for a second. He's like, no, I'm Lou. He's got one of those like you can get those at the Dollar Tree, like name tags. You write your name on it.
Yeah.
Like, who is this guy? What is his purpose?
I'm Lou.
and he
I
tries
work here.
me Tarzan, me Lou,
Me fuck a gorilla.
me Lou, me gorilla. I hate this. But so he starts talking to her. He gives her a little bit of candy. And dad comes in. He's like, what did I tell you about talking to strangers, daughter? He's like, no, I'm not a stranger. I'm Lou.
I work here.
Yes. And then as they're trying to leave, Lou's father boss, it's the guy who was titled Evil Man in the casting for this. He comes up and vaguely threatens them that they might get into some trouble. He's like, "Hey, you're lucky you ran into Lou. The other people might not be so friendly."
Yeah. Watch your daughter, old man.
Yeah, they're super creepy about the whole
He's
thing.
also got an X on his forehead for some reason.
What is that? He's got like a scar. He's got like a scar on his cheek and then a scar in the shape of an X on his forehead.
Yep.
Like, what is that? I don't know what that's supposed to be because it never, ever comes up.
I'm Lou. I work here.
I'm Lou.
don't know why that was so funny to me. It was just like his only line of dialogue,
hilarious.
and he said it like 8 times.
Suddenly, as they're trying to leave, because now this place is starting to feel a little creepy, all of these shady townsfolk start threatening them too. They're walking out and they're like, what are you doing? You don't belong in this town. That's not any way to talk to your wife. There's like 4 different people who are just kind of threatening them.
For basically no reason. And they're also saying that bullshit of like, you better watch out for your daughter and that little boy too.
It's scary and creepy, and I dislike it. Although one of the guys
I don't know
has
if
a shirt.
scary is the right word. Creepy
No.
is 100%.
One of the guys is wearing a shirt that says "Call me rat bag." Like, okay, I don't, and that again never comes back up. It doesn't have any purpose. He just happened to be wearing this stupid shirt.
And then flashback to the camp. And then they were trying to leave, but Ratbag was standing there. And don't forget about Lou. He works there.
he's Lou.
He works
I
there.
cannot reiterate this enough. There is Lou and
Lou,
there is rat bag.
And don't forget about those 2 characters out of these 8 characters that are here.
Is this
But we
the
all love
famous
Mommy
Ratbag?
Esmeralda. She's here too. She really wants a daughter.
Yeah, and then the nun is here. The nun, her name is Esmeralda. So apparently these are not all just townsfolk. They are a family here. And they're all creepy, and I'm off put by
Lots
all of them.
incest, a lot of inbreeding.
A lot of inbreeding. Yeah, it's actually kind of creepy. The nun is there, and like, what we believe are her sons are kind of like kissing up on her shoulder. Like, it's
they fucking-
yucky. It's real yuck. I really didn't like it at
But
all.
it wasn't yucky in like the normal sense of yucky. It was yucky because it was like trying so
yeah,
hard.
I really didn't like it.
It was trying so hard to be gross, it made it worse. Does that make sense?
I just remembered from the note I just read. Her and her family threaten them further, and then she calls the sheriff.
Oh yeah.
She's like, Lou, get the sheriff on the phone. Ratbag, get over here.
iPhone call.
iPhone call. And then she calls the sheriff, and she basically just says, you know what to do. Does he even do any? I don't think he does anything.
We never see the sheriff again.
We never see the sheriff again. He is completely useless. It is the longest flashback ever. We're still deep in it. Now we're at the camp. Echo is getting bullied because of her unconventional Halloween mask. Like, her brother's got a Wolfman mask. I guess it's around Halloween when this is happening. So all the other kids at camp have their own masks. And they're like,
was 4 days
"Hi,
before Halloween."
you look stupid. Look at your dumb mask." And so Jasper, her brother, tries to stand up for her, but a bully then smashes Echo's mask just by stomping right on it. It splits right in twain, which, okay, that's how the mask came to be in the future, where it's kind of like sewn and stapled back together. It's not cool, but it's like, it makes sense, I guess.
And then we flash back to the guy flashing back into the future. Or wait, the guy telling the story.
Yes.
And then there was B-roll of a drone flying over a lake and over some...
And then what else happened? And then her mask got split in half, and then,
then
more
more
B-roll
B-roll.
of the drone.
So about 20% of this movie we will not talk about anymore because it's just a drone flying over a lake or flying over some woods.
Literally, Derek could call it before it happened. He's like, okay, the scene's coming to an end, and B-roll of a drone.
And
There
it
it
was- there
is.
it was.
B-roll. Anybody have B-roll of a drone on their bingo card?
I had it on my
I got
B-roll
bingo.
card.
I got bingos 20 minutes ago.
You got B-roll 20 minutes ago. Get it?
Bing roll.
Bing roll.
Bing roll.
Remember Bing, the search engine? All right,
No,
keep going.
nobody does. So Echo runs off. She's ashamed. She's like, the kids don't like my mask. Everybody hates me. My mom and dad are fighting. Then that evil man from the restaurant, the one with the X on his forehead and the deep voice, he shows up. It's Lou's father. I'm Lou. He's my dad.
He's my dad. It's a lose-lose situation.
And so he's here repping Camp Hope. Oh, it's a lose-lose situation. That's really good.
Thank you. Yeah.
I love that, actually.
I just said it.
So he's here repping. He's got a shirt now that says Camp Hope. And he's talking about like, hey, none of this bad stuff happens at my camp. Everybody's cool and friends. It's super badass. Everyone loves Camp Hope. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. We love it so much. So he's trying to get her to come to his camp. This can't be good, right? So Lou's father then takes her and starts walking into this weird dark tunnel under some train tracks. I mostly feel like they were like location searching, location hunting, and just happened upon this place, right? I think they just really, really enjoyed this cool, because I'll admit it did look kind of spooky. It's like this train that goes over this little hill. There's this really dark tunnel going straight underneath it.
Yeah.
Looked
It
kind of
looked
cool.
pretty decent. I just like imagining them waiting for the train to go over to take the shot.
They're sitting here waiting all day. You told me you looked at the train schedule. You said there'd be a train that comes by right now.
There's
Like,
not
what
one
the
for
hell?
8 hours, man.
Oh God! What do you guys want to play lose again? It's a new game that I invented. We got the guy from Stuart Little here.
I lose. I play Uno.
Him and the guy from Stuart Little do nothing but talk about each other. I'm Lou. I was in Stuart Little. That's the only means of communication. But they have a beautiful blossoming relationship here. It's a wonderful story of love and acceptance, of really not learning to judge based on looks and all that kind of stuff. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I liked it.
This is
I was letting
nothing.
you go.
So Lou's father walks into the weird dark tunnel with Echo, and she was never seen
Oh,
again.
woo. And now she returns every Halloween to kill everyone in the camp. Oh.
There was nothing even scary about this horror story that this dude was telling at the campfire.
It was just a bunch of creepy people and a girl who walked into a tunnel with an old man and never
Yes.
saw it again. And like, listen, that's creepy. A girl
I
going
get-
missing, that's scary.
That's scary. A girl getting
But
kidnapped.
here's my huge, big issue with this story.
Huge, big.
We have no idea how they know half of this story because
No.
she is the only one who was there. So either they're making up this story or they just didn't pay attention. They
Yes.
didn't think about it. Because he's explaining the story exactly how it's happening,
Yes,
but it's
beat for
something that's
beat.
only happening to her. She's the only one who would
Yeah,
have known
exactly.
this.
This guy was not there in her bedroom as she was painting this mask and her parents started fighting. He was not there at the restaurant when this happened. He was not there when she got kidnapped.
I think it's a perfect example of 20 years creates a fib.
Absolutely.
It's a famous saying.
20 years creates a fib. You can quote us on that.
You can Google
You
that.
take that to the bank.
They say that every 20 years a fib is born.
So onward with this stupid camp. The owners try selling this story about Echo and her family coming to this camp to wreak havoc every Halloween, and they're not selling it very well. They're
No.
very poor showmans,
Yes.
I should say. You've heard of The Greatest Showman? Now here's The Lamest Showman.
Lamest Showman.
It's just terrible. So it seems like the idea here is they're going to have a bunch of staged murders and scares, and the staff are all in on it. And this is the most bonkers bullshit nonsense they pull in this thing. Every single one of these members of the camp that work here, all of the staff members, they were those kids from 20 years ago who bullied Echo.
Yep.
So
Every
that's how they're
single one of
connected to this. So you're telling me
You're telling
20
us.
years ago, all of these kids attended a camp. Now 20 years in the future, they want to come back and work for this camp, the exact same camp. We all made a blood pact. 20 years in the future, we would come back and work at a camp
It
here.
doesn't make any sense.
No.
Why would they come back?
It reminds me of the ending of like the first It chapter 1 when they're like, if it ever comes back, we all promise we're gonna come back, right? They all do like the little blood ritual with each other, like a blood promise.
It's like it wasn't even. I mean, yes, it's traumatic that a girl went missing, and
Yeah.
maybe we're just not getting all the information. But I love this concept that they're like, they bullied this girl, she disappears, and then they all choose to work there.
They're kind of capitalizing on the horrible thing that they
Yeah.
did, right?
And then they're like, okay, let's start our own company based around this.
Like, what the hell? Because it's also like, I have no indication that they are the ones that were starting this camp, because it seems like the Rutherfords, I think, are the owners of this
they're
camp.
the owners.
And they're the ones who started this thing. And I have no idea how they're connected to any of this at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now we understand that all of these staff members are the ones who bullied Echo, causing her to run away and get kidnapped. So now I'm kind of like, okay, these staff members suck. Let's get all these guys killed off, right?
Yeah.
So now this is wild. We see a masked killer sneaking throughout the camp as everyone sleeps, and he's a dude for real. Like, he's not for fake. This is the real guy, right? And so he comes up to this dude and like pokes him with a hot like rod that was in a fire. And he's like, "Man, I thought this was supposed to be fake." And then he walks out of his camp and gets like stabbed. It's a pretty uneventful kill for our first kill.
I did like him he gets kind of pulled off screen, which was
Yeah.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
It almost worked.
But yeah, so in the night, everyone went to bed, and then he dies. So the next morning, the other staff see the scene of this dude's death. It's a pool of blood, and they just think it's a part of the whole gimmick. Because again, they do not know who's going to get killed when or how.
Ridiculous.
That doesn't
Bonkers.
work. Like, I can understand kind of like trying to leave them in the dark so their reactions are a bit more genuine to this thing.
But you should at least pull the person who's about to die aside.
okay, you're
here's your
next.
blood bag. I'm going to stab you in the stomach 8 times. Right?
And action, let's go, right? Like, that should be how it works. That is not how it works, even slightly, right? So yeah, it seems like none of the staff actually know who's going to be the next one. If it's very poor planning, right? Now we get a quick shot in some busted up shack with the masked killer and 2 victims right now. So it's Hunter, who was there from the beginning, and then it's Lou, but Lou is an old man with like this gray hair now.
His hair.
He looks pretty much exactly the same, but with gray hair.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even tell us that it's Lou. We just have to assume based on his looks because
I'm Lou. I'm in cabin
he
now.
doesn't have his name tag on. How was I supposed to tell? So, but the weirdest thing though is he slices Hunter's neck really fast, and then he just like slices into Lou's belly.
Can we talk about the knife real quick?
Oh, the
this,
plastic knife that they had.
This is the only knife that is used in the entire movie
Yep.
to kill. They only had one prop. They had a decent budget because they got two decently well-known actors in here,
Yeah.
right? Like not unknown.
Mhm.
And they couldn't even get a good knife.
No.
This knife
Anything.
was bulky. It was like gray. It wasn't even silver.
No, it was just like
so
matte gray.
It looked like something you use in like the like Hello Chef or whatever. The like those like tiny kitchens that you like
Yes,
the magic. You know what I'm
exactly.
talking about? Ugh, this bothered me.
Yeah, it was pretty bothersome. But like he just keeps continuing to slice this dude's stomach, and there's a gash there. You can tell he's been doing this for a while. Not actually like gouging his guts out of
No.
him, just like giving him a little cut there,
But
over and over and over again.
honestly,
over time, over years, I guess.
Oh yeah, I guess it was.
It's been a while, huh?
But I think he would probably bleed out and die within a
I think
few hours.
so. But then the killer keeps showing him a picture of his dead mother, and he's having flashbacks to seeing his dead mom and his dead dad. He's like, "Who are you? Why are you showing this to me?" And we don't find out for a while. Meanwhile, all of the campers are complaining about the lack of horror in this horror camp. They're all like, "We paid $10,000 for this, and this is all we're getting." And the owners just keep promising them, "We promise you'll get an unforgettable experience. I promise you." Hunter's supposed to show up and start fake killing people. Please don't be mad. Please don't take your money back.
The worst thing about this, though, is right here, we see something that gives away who the killer is.
Yep. And what was that thing?
So there is one person amongst the campers who has long white hair. It's like a blondish
It's like
white
curly blonde
hair, and it's very different from
Played
everybody
by
else's
Jonathan
hair.
Lipnicki.
Played by Mr. Mouse,
Mr.
And-
Mouse himself, Mr. Stewart.
and it's like really obvious hair. So what do? They just put the mask on him and put the hood on him and have his hair hanging out the
His hair
sides.
is still poking out the back. So from the get-go, we're like, okay.
Well, now I
so
know who
this
that is.
guy, so Stuart
that
Little
guy-
over here is the murderer.
And he's probably the son of the parents from the beginning.
Imagine a Ratatouille situation where he's got the hood on and underneath the
And
hood,
Stuart Little's under
he's
there.
got Stuart Little piloting
fuck him
him.
up. I'm
What
gonna
if he
get him.
gets like a little? He's got a little mask. He's got a teeny mask for Stuart Little.
Stuart Little's just out there killing people.
He's got Stuart Little's little mask. It's
pretty
Stuart
good.
Little's little murder spree.
Stuart Little's murder spree. Stuart Little 3, murder spree.
That's what we were saying before. We got Little Rick Moranis as a killer. Little Rick Mouse Ranis.
Mousmus.
Lick Mouse Moranis.
Let's mouse around this.
He's the killer now, ratatouilleing a big Jonathan Lipnicki with his weird little mustache and his curly hair.
Incredible.
But so we already know that he's the killer, and it is not
gave it away so quick.
instantly, right?
It felt kind of intentional. Like it wasn't us just seeing this. This
Mm-hmm.
was so in our faces.
Yes, absolutely. Like it's not like we had to look for that one. It was just right there, so obvious to us. So this camp is the worst. All these people are they're horny for violence and blood. And so they just want to watch people get murdered like it's a show. Because now Echo shows up and the owners think it's Hunter, right? Because
Yeah.
they've been expecting him.
They think it's this 6 foot tall, very broad shouldered man
Which
playing
is-
a young 5'5" girl.
Don't make sense. So Echo now shows up and just starts taking people out, just like slicing their necks, stabbing them in the belly.
Okay.
At this point, I couldn't even tell if it was real or not
No, me
because no
neither.
one was reacting
Well,
to it.
and my favorite thing about this is they would go up and like slice someone's neck, immediate just drop to the floor completely.
Yeah,
dead.
there was no scream like, guys, this isn't fake. Like
no
they
one
just
was writhing
dead.
around.
Instant.
Everybody was just instantly dead.
Insta kill, 100%.
I want this plastic. Well, I don't want this plastic knife, but like
And
this
it's-
plastic knife needs to be thrown away.
It's so fucked up because the people are like, "Whoa, yeah, that's what I'm here for. Give me more of that." Whoa, I'm like, you guys are messed up.
You guys are
Jesus
stupid.
Christ.
I feel like after 2, it would be very obvious that these people were actually dead, especially for the camp, like the camp counselors.
they should know.
They
They're
should
like,
know.
"Wait, this is wrong. Something bad is happening here."
And then like the fact that after everyone leaves, those people don't just get up and walk away.
Exactly, because the owners they say, "Oh, well, Hunter's going to get in here and clean this up, so we're cool. Well, let's get out of here so we can do the cleanup job." It's ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense.
It's so stupid.
But now Mrs. Rutherford leaves to go talk to Hunter. She's like, "Hey, you bastard, where have you been this whole time? We're kind of upset with you." But that was a pretty good show. And then she ends up getting murdered by the real, actual, the Echo killer in this situation, right? So she's dead now. So now it's nighttime. Mr. Rutherford is worried about his absent wife, so he sends a staff member off to go find her. This staff member's name is Mike. The only reason that becomes important is because they say it a couple times. He will be here for a second.
Yeah.
But so Mike finds blood and decides he's the next target. He's like, oh, I get it. We're going to give him a show. It's my turn now. So he leans into it thinking he's the next one to die.
Yeah.
And then Echo appears stabbing him in the belly. And so he's like, oh, fuck, this isn't real. He's one of the only people that doesn't die immediately from this.
Yeah, he keeps him as a little prize.
Yeah, so realizing this is no bit, Mike chases Echo right into their trap. He ends up in that little shack where the killer has Lou tied up and stuff.
I'm Lou. I am in the shop.
I am Lou. I'm in the shack. My belly hurts. I'm having tummy ache, but I'm real brave about it.
Got any Tums? Shove him in my wound.
You imagine walks into the room, gash in your belly. Hey, you got any Tums? I think I got a tummy ache.
Having some crazy indigestion. Just like
Maybe some
pour a
Pepto-Bismol.
Pepto on here. Just pour it on.
Just like slather that Pepto-Bismol on here. I'm feeling pretty Pepto-Dismal right now.
Pepto-Dismal.
So then Echo appears right in front of, like, it's not I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's not scary whenever Echo shows up because it's usually like in broad daylight, but they take out Mike with a bat, and so now Mike is a part of this trap. It feels like they like to have two people stuck in this trap here right now. Like, it's a very strange thing. So Mr. Rutherford got tired of waiting, so now he's gonna go check it out. So he's walking through the woods and he tries to find his wife right now, right? Then Echo appears right in front of him. Again, no tension at all. The killer just shows up like it's nothing. Like, oh, hey, it's me. Like, they show up like they're a real ass person, not like they're some kind of scary killer, right? Like, there's no tension here, and I really hated it for that. And then, unfortunately, just like his wife, Mr. Rutherford gets the big stab. Every kill in this movie, I will give it to them. The gore in it is rather impressive for what they were doing, but like the kills are so dull. They are not interesting whatsoever. The gore is okay. The kill itself is kind of like, it's whatever.
It's literally just someone getting stabbed and then blood spurting everywhere.
Yeah, exactly, right? We do find out, though, that Echo's shack is here on the campgrounds. It's not like it's on some far-off place. It is just in a hut, in a house right here on these campgrounds.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's cool.
And so, let's see. The campers are now complaining again about the lack of terror here. They're in, like, an RV right now.
Yeah.
And again, I thought this was all of the campers. There are probably
also thought that.
There are probably like 8 or 9 of them in this
And
camper
it's all
right
the people
now.
we've basically seen mixed with some people we've never seen
Yeah,
before.
there's some people here I didn't recognize.
And like some girl who's talking about how she's so sexy and everybody loves her so much.
God, I hate it. All of the their dialogue is atrocious. I cannot with
My
it.
favorite thing about this is I was like, okay, so I should have seen this before.
Yes,
I
right?
should have been aware of this situation. But I've
Exactly.
never seen this one in my life.
So now they're all in this RV. Echo then surrounds the car with gasoline. So now all of the campers are locked in this RV as it is set ablaze. They're trapped, which is like kind of fun. I dig that. Okay, get them all out at once. Then it just explodes in a rather lame fashion.
Oh, yeah, it was
really
bad.
bad CGI. But even the CGI explosion was not very like big and impressive. It
Yeah.
was just boring.
It was just boring.
It's just a boring explosion.
The whole situation was boring. Even when they were trying to escape, I was like, I don't care.
No, I didn't. I didn't care about
I don't
any
feel
of them.
any tension. And even
I hated them all.
the killer, the way that they were going about like pouring the gasoline was just
Yeah.
like they were just doing a chore.
Yeah, exactly.
it
Like
didn't
nothing.
ca-
There was
I
no
didn't
tension,
care.
no nothing there. So it seems like the staff are the only ones left alive, plus a few campers. And it's also like, wouldn't they have heard that gigantic explosion?
Oh yeah.
Like,
and they're all just like, cool. They're like,
they're
where's more killing? I
sitting
paid
around
a lot
the
of money
campfire
to be
being
here.
like, I wonder who's going to get it next. Now Echo shows up again and starts taking out another couple of campers, for real killing them, but nobody knows that it's real. They all think that this is part of the experience, right?
At this point, everyone should be aware for so many reasons.
Absolutely. Anyone should be like, hey guys, do you think people are actually dying? Like, where are they
Yeah,
taking
I haven't seen
them?
them. Also, I didn't see my wife on the list of getting murdered, but she's gone. That's crazy.
Isn't that so weird?
She pulled that prank on me. I wonder when she's coming back.
It's
I'm
a
getting
funny
little-
joke.
I'm
She'll be
getting a little
back, right?
horny.
She'll be back, right? It's a
She'll
funny,
be back, right?
funny
she,
prank,
she
right?
pays my bills.
We get another flashback here all of a sudden to 2002. Jasper and Echo's parents, as they're leaving the camp because their daughter got kidnapped, and they're like, well, I guess we're leaving now. They get pulled over by Lou and his brother. They don't even really get pulled over. Lou is driving a car behind them and flashing his lights at them.
Yeah, and so they pull
they're
over.
like, all right, I guess I'll pull over. And then it's Lou and his weird, it's Ratbag. It's Lou and Ratbag.
Lou and Ratbag.
It's the old gang.
loot bag.
So they're sitting there being like, I'm so sorry, we had to do this. And they take nooses and like choke the parents with
man.
them. It's horrible. It's awful.
pretty terrible.
So now we're back in the present. Echo unveils their mask. Guess what? It was Jonathan Lipnicki, who is Jasper grown up.
Jip Licky
Jip
the whole
Licky
time.
and Stuart Little.
He pulls off the mask and he looks right into Lou's face. I was in Stuart Little.
I was in Stuart Little. You probably don't recognize me with the mustache, but I was in Stuart Little.
And this hair makes me look just a little like Evan Peters, but I'm not. I was in Stuart Little.
He really is trying to give something of like an Evan Peters performance of like Evan Peters in like any season of American
Basically
Horror
any.
Story. That's really how it's feeling.
I think his dialogue really was when he was stabbing people. He was like, "You, Laurie, was a wonderful human to work with.
He was a wonderful, nurturing spirit. I look to him as a father figure.
That mouse wasn't actually there. That was all acting."
I'm going to blow your mind. We were acting. There was never a mouse at all.
I love the idea that
power
on the
of CGI.
set of Stuart Little, they had like an actual mouse, like a real ass
A
mouse
real
in a
mouse.
green suit. And he's like got those like beads on him to like hook up to the motion capture.
Why is the first thing I can picture is like, okay, all right, everyone, that's a break for now. We'll meet back up. Let's meet back up in an hour. All right. The mouse scurries off. He's like around the corner of a building, leaning against it, like smoking
a
in his
cigarette.
mocap suit. It's mouse cap. It's
Mouse cap!
capture.
Mouse cap! Oh, that's a clap. Then like someone's like driving by and he's like, "Oh, that's Stuart Little," and they like take a little picture of him, post it on the internet.
He
Stuart
like
Little,
hisses at them. He like takes a drag.
but he's not smoking. He's not smoking cigarettes. He's got a little block of cheese. He's got a little Swiss cheese or a little cheese stick.
But it's like a cheese stick. He
Yeah,
keeps
little
it between his fingers.
just a little nibble.
Hey, and Jonathan Lipnicki comes up to him as a kid. He's like, Stuart, can I call you Stuart? Yeah, it's fine. Stuart, I really feel like you need to lay off on those things. It's just a little something to take the edge off.
It's stringy. See, it's like my performance. It's got layers.
So Michael J. Fox was really just like the Michael J. Fox was really just like the wrangler for this mouse in this mocap suit.
Incredible.
This is a wild thing. I
love
this.
it.
Love this
I love
wacky
it.
world we have created.
so
Also,
in.
we forgot to mention this earlier. In the very first scene where Echo shows up and starts killing people and everyone thinks it's real, Jasper, Jonathan Lipnicki, does get killed.
Like immediately.
And
And
so-
this was after we had seen his hair.
And so us immediately we're not like, oh, well, I guess he's not the killer then. No, my immediate thought was, okay, well, there's another.
There's the sister.
There has to be two then, right?
I
It's probably the
immediately
sister.
called the sister.
Because we never see anything about that sister dying.
No.
Nothing at all, right? So back to the present. Echo unveils their mask. It's Jasper as a grown-up. But who else? It's the real Echo. She takes off her mask. And who is it? It's that girl from the beginning who had the busted Jeep who needed help. I actually thought we were never going to see that girl again.
I thought that she was just throwaway. I was pretty surprised.
I was really
Out
surprised
of
to see her
anything
again.
in the movie, that was like, we're
Yeah.
reaching a little bit, but it was pretty surprising.
So then Echo does her own little flashback story where apparently when she was kidnapped by the other family, she killed those parents with hammers. So that evil man with a deep voice and the nun, she just took some hammers to them and just bludgeoned the hell out of them. So this whole thing was kind of a revenge story for them, right? Like they're getting back at their childhood bullies, getting back at the family that kidnapped and murdered them. But I still don't know if I feel for them. I still feel like they're kind of just fucked up guys who are super into murder.
Absolutely.
Even with this tragic past and backstory that they have. Like, I'm not really feeling for the two of them, right?
No, me neither.
Yeah. So Lou found his parents murdered dead. That's why Jasper kept showing him that picture of his dead parents just like to mess with him, I guess. So then after laughing like two little jokers, like, ooh, we're so evil. the two siblings stab Lou. The last piece of their fucked up childhood. Dead.
I will say though, the Echo killing the nun was pretty effective.
It was really brutal.
It was
actually.
super brutal. She was using a hammer on her head,
And it was kind of one of those things where it was a shot of child Echo bashing towards the camera with a hammer, and blood is splatting up onto her face with each hit.
Yeah.
Kind of like it was tough. Like I was actually one of probably the most.
It was
brutal
the
kill.
only brutal kill in the movie.
Really, really, really though. And then my note literally says, oh, right, the rest of the campers need to die, I guess. And it's at this point where I'm like, okay, hold on. So I understand killing Lou and his family because they kidnapped you. They took everything from you, like you said. I don't know if I understand, but I can see why you would want to get revenge on the bullies from camp. The campers that are here are not a part of any of that.
No, they're just
Why
going
do
for
they
fun.
need to die? Now they're just killing for fun. Now they're just, they've gotten a taste for blood, you
Yeah.
know? So now Echo shows up to the rest of them. It's Jasper. And it actually speaks to them this time, promising a real show. Like he's giving a real Joker performance here.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm so weird. Haha.
He does do this like weird thing through the whole movie where he's like conducting the air.
As he's like chasing people away, he's like conducting like it's an orchestra or something, which
There is one time where
never
it
makes
kind
sense.
of matches up with the music.
Yeah.
But it didn't make any cohesive sense because the music was not it was not in the world. It was in the
No, so remember how they had Mike tied up and they didn't actually kill him yet? Now he's there as like their grand finale, and I don't understand why. I think Mike was the guy that smashed the mask in half 20 years ago, and so he's like the big catch for them. He's their Moby Dick. I don't understand why he was such a big deal, right?
know.
So then Jasper taunts them all and then finishes them off one by one final bloodbath, and he saves Mike for last. Kills him. I really felt nothing about it.
Me neither.
And at this point, I was like, surely the movie's over now, right?
Oh, yeah,
It has
it
to
had
be
to be.
done. No, now the new batch of campers show up for this horror camp. For some reason, all of these campers somehow have a connection to this camp from 20 years ago, I guess. I don't understand how they're all ending up back here.
Me neither.
People live lives and go their separate ways. Like, why would this happen? And like, really, to save you, this boring ending is like they toy with and finish off this one girl who was just annoying, who was
also bullied them.
also one of the bullies when she was a kid. And so, yeah, they toy with her for a minute. They chase her through the woods. Then they stab her. The Echo stabs her a lot.
Yeah.
Like 15 times. Stab, 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 stab. And then she falls backwards into this pit of a ton of bodies. And then Jasper and Echo have their own masks. They're holding hands. They tilt their heads like they're creepy twins from The Shining, ready to kill off more campers. And that is the end of the movie. Oh, my God.
We did it.
Oh, we did it. We
I was in
survived.
Stuart Little.
Oh my God, I was in Stuart. What were our expectations for this one? Where do we end up on these?
Oh, dude, I don't know.
Expectations. My first one was lots of money put into bad actors. Not even that. Incredibly low budget movie for some low budget actors, maybe minus Mr. Stuart Little, Jonathan Lipnicki, and Bonnie Aarons of The Nun fame. But beyond that, like, no, really not. God, I have no words. I have no words.
Yeah, man, me neither. For my first one was some camp. A whole lot of camp and a whole not lot of camp. Mm-hmm. Like they were literally in a camp.
Yeah.
But
You
there was
can say
nothing
that much.
campy about the movie.
No. One camp does not camp make, if you get my drift.
One camp does not camp.
Trope heaven, I'd say nothing but jump scare attempts and tense music played way too loud over the dialogue. But at least like when tropes are utilized well, they can be funny. This one was not that. This one was not even enjoyable tropes. Like, oh, haha, I love that old trope. No, I just hated them.
Yeah. There will be less pleasant and more drowning in a lake. Accurate as hell,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
This movie drowned from the get-go. It was not pleasant.
We were drowning. Derek, how often do we have to take a break in the middle of a movie?
We've never done that before.
No.
Like, unless something comes up, normally we watch the movie beginning to end. We took like a good solid 10-minute break about halfway through this movie.
In this hour and a half long movie, we took a break pretty much right around the 45-minute mark, like straight up dead center.
Yeah.
We were like, I gotta call it for a second.
I could not bear it.
Could not bear any more of that. I said this movie could easily be 45 minutes shorter, and I take this back. This movie could be 15 minutes long. It could have been a short.
Yeah.
God damn.
Could have been
did
an
this-
hour and 15 minutes
Did
shorter.
this movie drag everything out to the utmost and repeated far too much? It was hell.
And 20% of the movie was fucking
Drone shots. Just drone footage paradise, honestly.
The worst acting. I am convinced that all the people in this movie were found on the side of the road and asked to be in this movie.
Yep.
Most have never acted a day in their lives.
No.
It was so rough.
We didn't even mention all like the one-liners from the random
Oh, my
ragtag
God.
ensemble
There
of
were
campers.
so many just one random off lines where it was like, okay, I asked you to be on this movie, I'm paying you, or I'm giving you this movie for
People
free.
who have never acted a day in their lives.
They're like excited to be on set. Maybe a lot of them were like horror fanatics.
Yeah.
And so they were excited to be in a slasher movie, which would be cool.
Yeah.
Like if someone came up to us and was like, hey, you want to be in our movie? Do you get to say one line? I'm like, yeah, sweet.
That'd be cool.
I would do it. The problem here is if everyone in your movie is made up of those people,
Yes.
it is noticeable.
You have a bad movie, right?
If like one or two, then it's like cute.
Yeah, because I feel like I've seen some movies where there's a cameo where it's like, okay, their performance wasn't great, but because it's like a fun, memorable cameo, I enjoyed that, right?
Or if it's obvious it was like someone who is like a public figure or something
Yeah.
in a movie, you know, like the Stan Lee effect, I guess is what you could call that.
Right,
like it's a
right.
cameo of someone who wasn't normally an actor
Yes.
who's just there. But when every single person in your movie other than 3 people are that, then you have a pretty shitty
Yeah,
experience.
exactly. That's terrible.
I'm Lou. I'm in this movie.
I said some surprising kills, and no, I wouldn't say the kills were very surprising, but the effects for some of them were a higher caliber than I was anticipating. Like, not necessarily great, just better than I expected. So if any money really went into this movie, it has to have been for the mild moments of gore.
Absolutely. Dialogue that brings me closer to the dialogue. Well, me and the dialogue are actually sleeping together now. So he is just a big black log that lives in my bed. I'm saying a lot. My point is...
You sleep with a charred, burnt up log of wood.
Yeah, I got a new pizza oven, and I've been cooking pretty sad pizzas with it.
Oh God, you can really taste the
You
sadness
can
within
just like
them.
every time you bite a piece of pizza, you're like, it's delicious, and I'm sad.
Yeah, it's kind of disheartening for Derek because, you know, as a chef, you want people to like your food. So, like, he'll have us eat it, and then we'll eat. He's like, well, what'd you think about it? And I'm like, it's a dark day in hell today. I feel no pain. I feel nothing for this pizza or life.
The dialogue was very bad, and I'm not gonna lie, dude. Most of it was just not memorable at all. All of it was
No.
just things like, "Oh, we paid $10,000 to be here. Oh, we're so mad. Oh, or I'm so ready to get scared and watch people die."
It's just terrible. My final expectation just said stupid motives. And I just said everything about this movie was stupid. Every single detail about the plot and how all these people ended up back here all these years later. I despised all of these things.
And then some cool kills. Passion breeds creativity. I wish I could say this. I do.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like the kills were done by someone who has never even seen a slasher before.
Oh, no.
This movie was conceived and created by someone who does not know what breeds fear.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing scary about this movie. There was nothing slasher about this movie. Like, you watch any slasher, even the bad slasher movies, usually have some sense of fear when it comes to the slasher being in the room, when it comes to the slasher being there. This little twink of a 5'5" man who was in Stuart Little pretending to be a small girl did not invoke fear, but
No.
could have.
Could have.
But could have.
potential.
There was potential in his character, but him walking around and conducting the world and then just walking up and just slashing everybody's necks with no problem.
This movie really made me appreciate the art of like the entrance of a killer, like
Yes!
when they show up, because this movie did not have an art to that. He just showed up and I was like, oh, this is just some guy who happens to have a mask.
It felt very SNL.
Yeah.
Right? It felt like an SNL sketch where a bunch of people are standing around a campfire and the
Yep.
guy just comes up and starts killing him off and they're all just laughing about it. That's what this movie was. That's a
Really
great
dope.
example of it. Like,
Yeah.
he literally would just
SNL
appear.
did Friday the 13th.
Seriously,
Yeah.
though. Because, like, when he would, like,
called
crawl up
Saturday the
into
14th.
oh, my God. When he would, like, crawl up into the shot, I wasn't scared. I was just like,
No,
oh,
of course
okay.
not.
Here's this little twink. boy.
Awesome. Yeah, cool. Thanks. So, surprises. I said, for me, I was surprised by the confidence of every actor on
Oh, yeah.
on screen. Like, how could they be delivering this so, like, from their chest and be so bad and feel so proud of it? Because it really did. I felt like all of these actors, like, we're doing a good job. We're making a great movie right now.
Yeah.
High fives all around. I was surprised by the underutilization of Mr. Stuart Little there himself. I'm not talking about little mocap mouse, but I'm talking about Jonathan Lipnicki here.
Yeah.
Because they used him as a selling point for this movie. I literally saw a poster for this that just had his name and I want to say Bonnie Aaron's name, the nun, also, because those are the only two actors they could sell this movie with.
Yeah.
But they used him as a selling point, and he hardly got to do much except try to be a little creepy like Evan Peters at the very, very end of this. I was also surprised just how this movie got made. Like, why did they write this? Who agreed to fund it? What's wrong with them? Why couldn't they get Stuart Little to reprise his role for this movie? Like, what happened there? My final surprise is I usually think there aren't bad movies, just movies you enjoy and movies you don't. But this one may make me shift my attitude on that stance, fellas, because it was a doozy, to tell you the least.
Yeah, man.
What were your surprises?
People just didn't realize the other people were getting murdered. How did this, like, get past any sort of screen test?
Right?
You know what I mean? Like, how did they watch that and think that was okay? Because it's so obvious and it's upsetting. Another thing that surprised me was a good surprise was the blood. I feel like the blood and prosthetics were actually pretty
It
good,
was, like,
especially
fair.
the hammer getting hit.
Yeah, that was a good one.
For what the movie was, I thought it
Yes.
was really good.
No, I'm with there. with you there.
Excuse me. The complete lack of care for having a cohesive story and reveals.
Totally.
How do you write a movie that's supposed to have a plot reveal that you give away the plot with such a small detail that early on in
Could
the
have been
movie?
easily avoided too.
It was so simple. Just don't show his hair.
Easy.
Unless you wanted to give that away, in which case that's a whole nother conversation.
The only reason I could think they might want to give that away is because they then killed him off.
They killed him off and
So
then
they could
had
be
his
like,
sister.
Oh, you thought for a second, but we got you.
But
they
the
didn't.
fact
for a
that it was
second.
his hair, and another issue is the way they killed him off
Yes.
was the same way they were killing everybody.
Just one quick
which
slice to the
wasn't
neck.
believable.
No, of course, absolutely not. Totally. Is that it? That's all.
No,
you're-
I have one more. I'm just
Okay.
mad. I'm like doing like a Muppet thing. I'm like being a Muppet.
Yeah, when that Muppet just kind of has that like front face, just staring straight.
My
straight down
final
the
one
barrel of the
is
camera.
the name of the movie. Surprises me.
Yeah.
Camp Pleasant Lake is arguably a better name than Camp Echo.
Yes.
However, you have a location called Camp Pleasant Lake,
Mhm.
and then you change the name immediately. That name means nothing.
No, you've ripped it away from us now.
So to call a movie something that has essentially nothing to do with
Uh-huh.
the actual situation, it bothered me.
yeah, exactly. It's
felt
like
pointless.
It's like taking Friday the 13th. It's like, no, actually, that was the day. That was yesterday. Today is Saturday the 14th. We're doing it on this day now. And it's like, okay, why was it titled this in the first place then? I don't understand.
Yeah, for real.
So is it time to discuss our verdicts
Yeah.
here? I said certified horrible. Usually I save the certifications for the higher end of our movies, but this one is outstanding in its horribleness. The performances were lacking. Everything, really.
Yeah.
The sets, lighting, and camera work were drab and uninteresting. Way too many drone shots that are in it. And the script should be taught in a masterclass on everything not to do in a movie. Not just horror, any movie. I am distraught. Do you think Camp Crystal Lake is still open? Because I would love to take a visit there.
I did certified unbearable.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think this is underneath horrible. I could not think of anything low enough to rate this movie. I liked Birdemic more than I liked this movie, and on paper, that's arguably a worse movie because of like production value, right? This movie was worse than that movie. Camp Pleasant Lake is more like a small pond trying to be a great lake. It has good ideas, but nowhere to take them. The actors had little to no direction from someone who obviously doesn't understand what scares people. Maybe take a swim in the local pool instead of trying for this lake. Yeah, what's up, dude?
Blah blah. I just I'm feeling a bit disheartened.
I don't
because,
actually know why you're
my
out here.
still beating heart doesn't is not moving for this one here because I was not able to find any trivia for any of this, and so did you want to hear some trivia about Stuart Little maybe?
No.
Did you know that they had a real mouse actually? They used him
That's not
in
true.
a motion capture suit.
That's
it was
not true. You
it was
just heard us
the
talking about it.
incredible technology. No, it's
no,
fantastic.
no,
It's
trivia?
real. I read this.
No, it's real. I read this.
No, now you're making fun of me.
No, you're making fun of me.
Everything I read on The Onion is true. I don't understand. And I can read that because it's not the garlic. I know you were going to make that joke, but
thought
The
about
Onion
it.
is different than the garlic.
I did actually think about making that joke. That was
See,
pretty funny.
I know, and I know you.
But
I
I
know- 'cause
am not the vampire,
I
so
know
I
that you
can
were a
read on the
fucker.
garlic.
I know that you're a fucker. What's on the garlic? What's over on there?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you should
Are
check
they
it out.
saying weird things about me?
Yeah, they talk about you all the time.
Fuck, I knew they were.
There
gonna
was
do that.
actually a Watch Mojo garlic video that was just top 10 problems with Count Trivia.
That's so mean. But
They're trying to cancel you.
I suppose that I'm honored that they want to talk about me. Like that's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I guess I'll take that with a grain of salt.
Don't do that.
No, that's
Grain
bad,
of
that's bad.
rice.
A grain of rice. Oh, I love
Yeah.
counting rice. Also, Hugh Laurie was a wonder to work with on set. He was just a gem, a handsome man, a funny man too. Goodness, I know most people know him for his roles in House and stuff like that, but he's the comedy wizard.
Yeah, he
he's
really
a
is.
funny man.
But-
you ever heard it? You should check him out. I think
I
you
love
would
him,
really
actually.
like the guy.
He's a
No, I know
big
you've never.
fan.
You're uncultured. I know you. This you
you're
should
a piece
really,
of
you
shit.
should really watch it. You.
No, Count Trivia. I'm just kidding. I know you had a hard day. Count Trivia. Oh, God.
I literally wrote down in the trivia section, womp womp, because there was no trivia to be had for this movie. I am so sorry that we have nothing here for you guys.
Yeah, dude. Well, there was nothing in the movie for you guys.
No, there was just nothing to be said. I'm sorry. Usually for newer movies, there's a lot less trivia. This one, just nothing. Nothing we were able to find. We scoured through the internet to try to find anything, and I really do apologize to you guys. But let's talk about our next
next movie, next
Yeah,
week.
you didn't tell me about this.
Next
you
week,
kept a little secret.
We kept it a little secret.
Are we gonna start doing that?
No, I just forgot to bring it up at all.
I forgot to ask.
Next movie is going to be Terror Vision from 1986,
Ooh.
sitting at a 10%. You know me, I love my 80s and 70s horror movies. Terror Vision is a 1986 horror science fiction movie telling the tale of when a family's new satellite television system starts receiving signals from another planet. And soon it becomes the passageway to an alien world.
I love that.
Yeah, this one looks pretty bonkers. I'm just like, I've looked at some pictures of it, and there's just some nonsensical, like, practical effects like goopy looking little monsters. Like, I am here for it. Also, if you know me, you know I love the movie The Phantom of the Paradise, and there's an actor in it, Garrett Graham, who plays Stan in this movie. In The Phantom of the Paradise, he played a character called Beef, who's this awesome like drag rock star that's in
love
it.
Beef.
Go watch The Phantom of the Paradise. It
You
is
really
it's
should.
an incredible movie.
It's
I
such a
adore
good
it.
movie.
But yeah, so we're gonna be watching Terror Vision next week for the next episode. Terror Vision 1986 sitting at a 10% here.
Yeah.
If you feel so inclined, please go follow us on our social medias. I come to you hat in hand and say, listen, those numbers go up and it makes us really happy when
It does.
they do.
Number go up, may happy.
Number go up, make happy. So our socials are Instagram at _was_horrible, Twitter at TWH podcast, Facebook at that was horrible podcast, YouTube at that was horrible, and TikTok at that was horrible. We are a little out of order here because I forgot what order we do things here. We cannot let you go without a little bit of a Garfield horror scope.
It's true. It's
so
true.
so this week we've got a Garfield comic for you here. We've got John swimming in a little itty bitty baby pool in his backyard, and then from the side of the screen we got Garfield coming out with a diving board all of a sudden, and he jumps off the board up into the air into the pool, and we get a little bit of a zoom out here, and the diving board was Odie's tongue that he just bounced off of into John's little kiddie pool.
Yeah. I wanna
And
be Odie.
then Derek, do you want to read what the
I always
one?
knew that tongue was good for something.
I always knew that tongue was good for. Wow.
I mean, it makes sense. though,
Wow.
because like dogs lick things.
Good
Stop
Lord.
being gross.
What is your take on this? Who do you want to be?
So Odie, obviously.
You're Odie, okay.
Odie is sticking out his tongue, and he is providing a service. And how Odie looks at this is that his tongue is always providing a service. He's cleaning things up.
Uh-huh.
He's eating things. You know, his tongue is always
keep
good
going,
for
keep going.
something. And everybody just doesn't appreciate it.
So there's a lack of appreciation.
There's a
for
lack of
Odie's tongue here.
appreciation.
Okay.
So my advice through Odie's tongue is to just know your worth.
yeah, okay.
And go
That's good.
Go with it. Use your thing how you know it should be used. Like being a springboard for
Yeah.
Garfield.
I'm into that. I'm actually going to go in a similar vein here. I'm going to be Odie's tongue in this one.
Oh.
And you might find yourself in a situation where someone says something about you. You know, I always knew Derek was good for something, right? So this week, go forth and prove them right. You know, prove those people who think, oh, you know, Derek might be good for something. I mean, Derek's good for a lot of things. I don't like using you for this example, but point
He's
is,
kind of trivia.
reach that potential this week. You know, you've got something to prove, something great that you're good at. Go show the world that. You know, be the tongue diving board in the situation. Go spread that joy and be a wonderful addition to society, like I know you are. That's the word from your horrible horror boys here on That Was
Aw.
Horrible. Thank you for joining us as
Yeah.
always. Please go out there in the world and Garfield
be with you.
Stay spooky.
Goodbye.